It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Caesars is Alberta's anytime, anywhere sportsbook. Stay in the action with your favorite teams and players. Whether you're camping, kayaking, or catching a show this summer, bet wherever you are, whenever you want. Plus, Caesars Sportsbook offers fast payouts and flex parlays, a new way to keep your bet alive even if a pick misses. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today.
Must be 18 or older and physically present in Alberta to gamble. Must be 21 or older to use Caesars Sportsbook. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. Please play responsibly.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Missioner Island Auctioneering's Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Equipment Auction is this Friday at 9 a.m. featuring articulated dump trucks, backhoes, dozer, excavators, forklifts, graders, loaders, man lifts, packers, skid steers, telehandlers, turf mowers, plus commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Jolene, 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 Jolene.
The Jason Gregor Show. On Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Back to right. Limo back to the wall. Reaches it.
.202. Thank you for joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, Tuesday, August 25th edition of the show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, tonight's Lotto Max estimated $10 million. And then tomorrow, the Lotto 649 Gold Ball Jackpot, $18 million. Check it out, PlayAlberta.ca. You can also get to the Gregor Show specials. Of course, we got the MLB parlay tonight. Giants, Padres, and Twins. The Blue Jay way. Jays to win. And Vlad Guerrero, 2+ hits, which is a little dangerous these days. But, hey, we're going for it. We also got deck selects in the WNBA tonight. Mystics, Wings, and Chicago Sky. Check it out, PlayAlberta.ca. Remember to use your game sense. Connor Halley with you here. Declan Kruger, Mackenzie McClendon. We got Connor Spivak as well, plus Cam Tate. An absolutely loaded studio here today. And good news, my laptop stopped working 15 minutes ago, but it just turned back on. So that's positive on this, let's call it a positive Tuesday edition of the show. You can always reach us, 1-833-401-1440. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, email me, Connor at sports1440.ca. You can also slide Declan in there as well if you want to have a chat with him about, a variety of topics. You can watch us on YouTube, Sports 1440 AM. That is the chat there as well. So if you want to get in there, hit that like button, thumbs up, subscribe. We're almost at 3,000, and you can chat with Mackenzie, Declan, and myself as we roll through this busy Tuesday on the Jason Gregor Show. Today, lots to get to. We're going to kick things off with a guy who I think it might be one of the most defensive or fun defensive players to watch in the CFL because he absolutely flies around the field. Joel DeBlanco, Edmonton Elks linebacker, will join us, the former first overall pick in the CFL draft. What they did on Friday night against that Winnipeg Blue Bombers offense, who kind of controlled the play in the first half, right? We can't really sugarcoat that. In the first half, Winnipeg was good. Rushing the ball for over 100 yards, almost 200 yards through the air. Second half, 24 yards. So talk to Joel about what was said at halftime this season so far, just this group becoming more of a cohesive unit in year two with a lot of the guys returning, and what's he up to on the bye week. We'll get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning from yesterday. Of course, we did have to miss it, had a little technical difficulties, but we'll get to that at 2:40. We'll be joined by Terry Ryan for a segment at 3 o'clock. Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM NHL. We've got the stats of the day. Talking, it's going to involve uniforms. I'll tell you that. And a few other fun ones as well. The roundtable, Buck Lanford going to come by from Fox 5 in Atlanta. We'll talk some Falcons. That division, to me, very winnable. And, you look at what they have built up on that offensive side of the football. They bring in Kevin Stefanski from Cleveland, who I think most would agree is a good football coach. And anything could happen. You look at the quarterbacks in that division, and, Baker Mayfield, we've seen him be very good. We've seen some not so good with Bryce Young. I think the same could be said. The Falcons with their quarterback situation, the two lefties. Interesting. Tyler Shuck, obviously the Saints like him. Do they love him? It's going to be a fun season, no doubt about it. We'll talk some NFC South football spec. AJ Jackiebeck will be by from TSN 1200 in Ottawa, also voice of the Red Blacks. And that whole situation, I mean, it's probably too soon for some Elks fans. Everything you're seeing happen with them. Sans coach and GM. Dinwiddie seems to be doing okay. I think he probably has a time frame mapped out here for how long before he starts feeling the heat. But that being said, we've seen players released. We've seen presidents. We've seen it on almost every level. What's going to happen next? They're bringing in like legends of the game to try to turn this thing around. And then at 5:40, we'll get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning from today. As we mentioned, we missed yesterday, so we'll make sure we get back today. Obviously, kind of huge news today, not just in the sporting world, but outside of the sporting world, is Dolly Parton passing away at the age of 80 years old. I have said many times that I didn't really love country music, but Dolly Parton's above that. Like, she was a global phenom. Does so much more. I don't think there's too many people out there that have any issue with what Dolly Parton has ever been a part of. She's just been one of those awesome, amazing people. So sad news today to hear about that. Her family releasing that news. We're very oddly this morning, we listened to music with Benny every morning, and I'll do like opera, classical, rock, rap, all sorts of things. But today we went with Dolly Parton, and the kid was bumping. So her music, obviously timeless, and sad news. We pass along our condolences to the family, friends, and listen to the music. That's all you can do at these times. Declan Kruger here as well, going on this fine Tuesday.
Well, not much. Good show so far. We're 8 minutes in, but I think we're flying. That was, you know what that was a little bit, Connor? That was a little bit of a verbal tick, saying good show so far because we're only 8 minutes in.
Good show.
But good show planned. Let me rephrase.
Yeah,
good planned.
I'm
excited for 5 questions today.
Oh, you bringing the heat today?
I'm bringing the heat. Round table softballs, but 5 questions.
That's where.
Yeah.
That's where the big boys play.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to get Mackenzie in 5 questions as well. Then we'll have to get her thoughts on these hard-hitting questions.
No girls.
No. Okay. Well, can't assume things these days, Jay and Victoria says, we got Joe's jersey when I was there. Guy's a beauty. I think he plays like JC Sherritt. I mean, What I like about Joe's game is he's just flying everywhere. Like, it doesn't matter if someone's making the tackle, he's going to get involved. And, whether that's, finishing off the tackle, cleaning it up, ripping the ball out of their hands or attempting to, he plays, with one speed. And I think that's really admirable to see. Getting the CFL game, it's got to be tough as a linebacker. Obviously that the yards line of scrimmage makes a bit of a difference as well for them when you're getting on the edge. But I mean, he's found it, and playing beside Nick Anderson or whoever it might be, battling through some injuries. He's the guy you love to head out there because nothing, doesn't change game to game, week to week. He's going to be bringing that same mentality and that consistency. And yeah, he's been fun to watch. And we'll ask him about JC Sheridan, how that has helped him. Year 2 under Sherritt as his defensive coordinator. And, you're talking about things as a defense as a whole, but I'm sure there's lots of coaching up a guy who played in that position. No doubt about it. 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line if you want to get in on the chat. Some of the other topics from today. Apparently, the Ottawa Senators closing in on a decision for their next captain, replacing Brady Tkachuk. I think you have a few options there. Thomas Chabot would be one that comes to mind. I mean, he's been there for a little bit longer. On the back end, maybe you're a Jake Sanderson guy. I could get that as well. Up front, people like Stützle. I mean, he's, pretty good player there. I think if you go with those guys from the leadership group, from an outside perspective, obviously, I don't know. I'm not in the room. It's hard for me to say for sure, but it does look like the Ottawa Senators closing in on a captain, and good on them. I think a lot of times teams don't rush it if you're in that situation where you don't necessarily need to. I think for the Ottawa Senators, they have plenty of capable leaders, and they'll probably be, it won't be hard for them to grab one, but the decision likely coming soon. We're hearing more and more comments from the NHL press tour over in Europe as players are speaking. Nemec of the Flames and didn't ask for the trade. Happily had to have it figured out. Yeah, it makes sense. A little stability there. No doubt about it. From the major leagues, Shane Bieber on the 15-day IL. That goes back to the 21st. So it's 15 days. So, that's going to take him into early September. That's not great. It's not great for the Blue Jays. But, hey, they faced enough adversity here. And I'll be interested to see, what happens for the remainder of the season here. They're getting these series. They moved on past the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Rays, all these teams that are ahead of them in the AL. Now you've got teams that are behind them in the race. Teams that records are under 500. Air quote, winnable series. This is when you have to win them, though, right? Because that hasn't always been the case. And a report for Minnesota that the Wild are in negotiations with Quinn Hughes. No trade talks taking place. Declan, you and I kind of debated that one, and Gregor as well, on the round table, one of the earlier editions, because if I'm Quinn Hughes, I'm in no rush to make that commitment to Minnesota. I don't have any loyalty there. Yes, they acquired me, but I wasn't drafted there. I want to make sure everything's going in the right direction. And even if it is, I still might talk to other teams before I circle back and go with the Minnesota Wild. I mean, you've hit free agency. And if you're Minnesota on the flip side, I feel like you kind of have to understand that. And if he tells you, I'm going to take a look, he's incredible. You give him that time. I don't think you just start spending money moving on and then all of a sudden you don't have the cap space to bring him back. Maybe you want to put a timeline on it next summer. Okay, we'll give you the time, but at this point, either way, please give us a decision. Let's handle this with some respect. Do you think Quinn Hughes is back in Minnesota, or do you think he checks out, maybe tries to head out to Jersey?
No, we talked about this on the round table. I do think he's back in Minnesota, and I kind of just disagree, fundamentally with the take. You obviously make some good points, but my thing is just Minnesota. First of all, he can get paid anywhere, but he's playing with a pretty elite D partner in Brock Faber. Anywhere else he could go where you're in a win now window, if you want to call it that, in Minnesota, they have their number one defenseman, generally speaking, right? Colorado has Cale Makar and Edmonton has Evan Bouchard. And I think there is something to be said for he wasn't drafted there, but I'm sure he had, a little bit of input with that no move clause when he went to Minnesota. So I get testing the market, but I just think all roads will lead back to Minnesota for him. And I think he's I just think if I was him, I would realize that this is where everything can connect the best for me to be.
That division is so tough, though. Like you're
Yeah.
going to have to go through Colorado or Dallas. Utah's on the
But,
rise.
like, they got to play you too, though.
Yeah. You don't have a top center though.
True. That is true.
So yeah, I think Minnesota would be an awesome place to play. They love their hockey there. But I'll stand by it. And you and I can disagree on this one. If it's me and I'm looking out for number one, I'm listening to the calls. I'm discussing it, not ruling out returning. We saw it with Kulak, Evander Kane. We've seen it in the past here in Edmonton where guys take a look and then make their decision. Now, for those guys playing with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, probably has an impact. But I think you do have some valid points there that, you've got your goalies, you've got a good partner, you got a good team, good GM for sure. Bill Guerin goes out there and gets things done. But I would probably take a listen, look around. MTR says, hey, guys, any update on Jamar Chase? Yeah. From Kelsey Conway, who covers the Bengals for the Inquirer down in Cincinnati. She said he was on the radio, ESPN 5030, said he's good. A little bit of a hyperextension, could keep going if need be. So was walking it off. It was the knee. A little knee hyperextension for me, you're probably putting me down. But for Jamar Chase, he says he's good, just a tweak. Now, they say that. And now for the next little while here, people will be extra cautious with him. And I'm sure, third preseason game, don't need him to play. He's a top receiver in the NFL. Watching the play, it doesn't look good. And the initial response, I think, would be pretty scary because he's down, he's grabbing knees, teammates are rushing over to him, but he bounces up, walks off. These guys are pretty flexible. Hopefully he'll be okay. Cat Dad says, I think that's when the Hughes brothers meet. You're talking free agency, Cat Dad? I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, they'll have to make it work. Quinn's not just going to play for free. He's going to want to get paid, be financially compensated. But I think there would be a discussion there at least. I mean, and every single team would be in on him, right? That's how good he is. You get a chance to add a player like that, you're going to be all in. But there has to be landing spots. And realistically, Quinn Hughes in his prime still, but he'll be 27 at that point. If he were to sign a 6-year deal, it takes him to 33. He'll still have a chance to sign another contract, but this is probably his biggest time to cash in. I think he's just got to make some smart decisions here. That being said, if he ends up with Minnesota, I don't think there's going to be anything wrong with that. 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line if you want to get in on the conversation. You can also check us out on YouTube at Sports 1440 AM. Hit that like button if you're hopping in there. You can join the chat. Mackenzie's already in there. I will say hello as well. Still to come on the show today. Like I said, a very busy program. We're going to be talking a lot of different topics here. In the 5 o'clock hour, we'll have Spec, as we usually do. Also, AJ Jackieback from TSN 1200. The Ottawa Redblacks, as we mentioned, a bit of a mess right now. At 4:20, we'll talk some Atlanta Falcons with Buck Lanford. We might also ask him about NHL in the Atlanta area, because we've talked about a lot of times how expansion is a thing. Last week on the show, Ryan Payton of SiriusXM mentioned, why 34? Why not 36? You could make the divisions just a little bit easier there. All of a sudden, you're going to need destinations to do so. And I know the NHL's failed in Atlanta twice, but a long-time sports guy in Atlanta will ask Buck if there's any possibility. We've got the roundtable stats of the day. Dave McCarthy of SiriusXM will drop by at about 3:20. Terry Ryan, Cam takes 2-minute warning from yesterday because we missed it due to technical difficulties. And Joel DeBlanco will join us as well. Edmonton Elks linebacker. And looking forward to that one as well. CanTorque, Colin Livingston in the chat here on Sports 1440 AM on YouTube. Colin, what's going on? We'll talk to you on Thursday. Deck, did you happen to see the NFL rivalry uniforms unveiled today?
I saw the Packers-Bears ones.
Yeah.
And someone said this is Syracuse versus Baylor, and I thought that was a perfect description. Didn't see how many else were unveiled.
So 8 teams, sorry. It was the NFC North and the AFC South. So I actually went through earlier today, and it's Syracuse. Like when you look at the Chicago Bears, Syracuse. It's like the navy blue, orange letters, and orange pants. The Detroit Lions essentially look like the Carolina Panthers. I feel like they went super lazy with this one, when you probably could have just gone with Barry Sanders-esque, maybe a little cleaner, modern. Baylor, I didn't make that comp, but I would say for the Green Bay Packers, that's fair. I like the jersey. I like the on the shoulders, the stripes. I think it looks pretty good. The Houston Texans, in my opinion, did a good job. Now you kind of think of the Houston Oilers and an all-white uniform, a clean look. The Colts went with the black uniform, which they've done before, so it's not the newest and greatest thing, but it looks okay. Kind of looks like the Detroit Lions black jersey, actually. The Jags. Do you like Jaguar print on your pants?
I saw that they were very Lululemon inspired.
That's what I saw someone put out there. Lulu has these exact pants. They're interesting. I feel like the Jags have some of the worst uniforms. You could have a good uniform if you had like the Mark Brunell, Fred Taylor era. I think those were good. But since then, it's been hit and miss.
They were kind of like simple, right?
They were.
In like the best way, though.
But
like the color was still cool and they were still kind of like new and fun.
Then one year they went with like the gold and black helmet. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's great.
The Blake Bortles AFC Championship
Blake
year.
Bortles
Maybe
era.
they should get back to that.
And they went like really simple again. Vikings are sweet. They got some really cool stuff on the shoulders as well. Tennessee Titans, not bad. Not bad. They're okay. They're very Tennessee Titans. It's what you would think about when you see them. We'll have to throw those maybe up on our social media platform so you can go take a look. But I'm excited to see the Vikings, the Packers, even the Bears. I like this Syracuse look. I think it's good. Also, like, if you look quickly, and it was like a darker purple, maybe Clemson, but you have to be like just looking very, very quickly. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk some CFL football with Edmonton Elks linebacker Joel Blanco. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild. Online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order noodle at noodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order noodle at noodle.ca. So sit on your couch all day and noodle.ca. Noodle.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward combos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. No credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's a check to 780-all-7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
1 in 3 Canadians aren't getting enough sleep. Let the Brick help you sleep better for less. Save 40% on the Sealy Crown Jewel Resort mattress. Get cheap, starting at just $49. And buy one pillow, get the second one for just $10. Plus, take up to 55 months to pay with no interest and no money down. And with next day delivery in Edmonton, you can start sleeping better right away. Some conditions apply. OAC. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Plan for success in 2027 with help from the Co-op Grow Team. With the latest on-farm technology, our agronomists will work with you to gather and interpret soil samples, analyze data, and gain more insight into your fields. We offer local expertise and trusted advice to help you plan your inputs and prepare for the unexpected. Get ready to make data-driven decisions with Co-op Ag Zone Field. Make a successful 2027 crop plan to meet your field's potential. Talk to your Co-op Grow Team today.
I'm Dr. Van Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think, "Wow, great hair transplant." I want them to think,
Wow, great hair.
Go to drvanselliott.com and contact us today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rock. OTR is celebrating 20 years on Jasper Ave. Join them Friday, September 18th to celebrate 2 decades of fun with Whale and the Wolf on stage. Book your table at ontherocks.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's 2:24. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley sitting in, Declan Kruger, Mackenzie McLennan, Connor Spivak, Cam Tate here, as well as we roll through the Tuesday edition of the show. Thank you for joining the program, of course. We want to discuss still to come, but right now we're going to talk a little CFL football and the local team, who's on to a heck of a start to their season, obviously on their bye week. We get our big guest today, brought to you by Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches taking you and your team or group to your next destination. Book your ride at silentrides.ca. Bringing Edmonton Nelson linebacker Joel DeBlanco. Joel, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Hey, good. Hey, good. Audio is choppy for me, so if I can't hear you quite as well, that's why. But really good to have you here, to be here, and thanks for having me on.
All right. You know what? We have a chat in this little link we sent you. So worst case scenario, we'll provide a phone number and we can do this over the phone. But appreciate you helping us out and hopping on and letting us know here. So, Joel, I want to get to this season, and we definitely will. But I want to go back a little bit, going back to, your early days getting into football and, playing in high school. Obviously, I'm sure it wasn't your only sport. But what was the recruiting process for you, and what led you to end up at Cincinnati?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how long do we have, right? Like, I was blessed from early on. I had a dad that and parents that really sacrificed a lot for me to be in a position to be able to go and, put myself in a position, even though I was from a small town in Aberdeen in Washington, but not a lot of people came out from there. So my dad knew early on that he would have to put me in positions to be seen. Right. And so, I remember going into my 7th grade year when I was 6th grade, I went to this camp called Top Gun, and I didn't even think I was good enough to be able to go to something like that. I knew I was good for my area type thing, but I'm like, come on, Dad, this is like, on the biggest stage in the country and everything like that. And sure enough, we were able to go there, and little did I know that we had zero money for it. My dad's borrowing money from his dad, right? And so those type of sacrifices, I go and I do well. I went as a running back, and I think I was the only white dude out there, and I was way bigger than everybody else. And one of the guy who ran the camp came by and was like, "Hey, is that your son?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's him." And he's like, "Does he play defense?" And he's like, "Yeah, he does." And so, he's like, "All right, send me his defensive tape." And so, then I went and played in the East Bay Youth All-American game as a 7th grader. And I did that in 7th and 8th grade. And that quickly put me on kind of the national scene, and started like early recruiting. I remember being a freshman in high school and getting all these letters from different colleges. And, that was really cool. That was exciting, but also, having a freshman coming in here, hasn't even played high school ball, like it brought a lot of negative attention to me as well, and kind of made me a little bit of an outcast at my school a bit. So that was unique. And then kind of going through, there were some highs and lows, and I thought actually I was gonna go to Michigan, kind of on like a gray shirt thing and all that, but I signed with Cincinnati after signing day. So it was like a whole month and a half. Yeah. And, I didn't even know if how many scholarships in the country were, left available. So, it was a huge God thing of him opening the door. We're praying for God to open doors on signing day, and it just felt like he kept closing them left and right. And then he opened the exact one that he wanted me to go through. And, the word was, I was on a recruiting trip at the time, and we went to Cincinnati. I didn't even know where Cincinnati was. I didn't know anything about the school or anything like that. And I just remember being at the campus, and, I was also going to go to Louisville, and the word was they were going to offer as well, which is like a bigger school, right? But, I really felt like that's where God wanted me to be. And I felt peace about it. And so I talked to my mom about it. I talked to my coach from IMG, and that's where I wanted to be. And just seeing how God worked through that whole time, like first year was a rough year, had, the head coach that, got me in type of thing, ended up getting fired. And then we got Luke Fickell and Marcus Freeman as my linebacker coach. And year after year, I kept working, getting better and better and better. And to the point where, I'm able to, have a career up in the CFL, and super blessed for it.
That's so awesome. Yeah, because it would have been Tuberville would have been maybe the recruiting, and then they move on from Luke Fickell, and it certainly worked out. I mean, you guys had a couple of outstanding years.
Yeah.
Went to the Cotton Bowl, right, in 2021?
Yeah. We went to the Cotton Bowl and was it the Peach Bowl? Yeah. The Peach Bowl as well. So, and those were the 2 years that I started, right? And so, I started my redshirt senior year, and if it wasn't for that COVID year, I would have gotten like half a season because of COVID, right? And luckily we won championships both those seasons. And so
that's incredible. So quickly, now Marcus Freeman, you said, was your linebacker coach. Now he's running Notre Dame. Obviously Bearcats #1, but do you have a soft spot for the Irish now?
For sure. I mean, it helps too. Like, if in 2021 we played them, and if we would have lost, I would have been a little more salty about it. But we won, so I can support them, right? Because I got the one up on them.
Went over, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Joining us here, Edmonton Elks linebacker. So after that, you spent a little time in the NFL practice roster. What was that experience like? Because we hear the stories where 1 week you can be called up, called down, another team could claim you. You spent some time with the Saints and the Seahawks. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was really cool. I think when I was with the Saints, I was there for rookie minicamp, and I was signed, and they ended up cutting me after the rookie minicamp, which doesn't really happen very often. I remember after my combine and everything, my pro day, I was like, I'm gonna get back to like football weight, and I was playing around like high 230s and stuff like that. And I just went there and I wasn't moving my best. They put me in a position that I'd never really played before, which was an on-the-ball linebacker, and they told me something different going into camp. And so, that also had a challenge, right? And so, but I realized that like, hey, like I can't just be a run-stopping linebacker anymore. And that's really what I was in college. And not that I couldn't cover in the past, because obviously I do it up here, but that was kind of like an eye-opening thing for me of like, okay, I got to get a lot, like I can't just be one-dimensional in the pros, right? And so then with the Seahawks, I realized going from getting cut after rookie minicamp, I wasn't sure, like, am I good enough to play in the pros, and all this stuff. A lot of doubt creeps in your head, and I wasn't getting a lot of calls. And then the Seahawk opportunity came, and I realized, oh, like I can absolutely play at this level, right? And kind of a little bit of that, right? Of like, even when you're practicing against like sometimes the ones and the twos, it's like the gap isn't as big as we think it is, right? Like a lot of it is like up here, right? Like being in the right place at the right time, doing your plays, executing and everything like that. But like ability wise, like there's not really much of a difference. Obviously, there's like the 1% and 2 or 3% or top 5% of the NFL, and those guys are absolute freaks and difference makers and everything like that. But you got that kind of middle ground that's a lot closer than everybody wants to kind of admit. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, like I belong here, right? And it gave me confidence to go out and play well. And so yeah, and it's unique, right? You get cut after training camp, and like the Seahawks would call me like once every 2 weeks, right? Like making sure that I'm around. And like one time a guy got banged up in like the first couple of weeks of the season. He's like, hey, you might need to come into your start. I'm like, start? What do you mean start? Like, what if I was an option to start? Why wouldn't you have me in the building, right? So it's like all these weird things that, like, you know, I just chalk it up to like, you know, God has a plan for me in my life, right? And like, maybe, you know, that's not in the NFL, and that's totally okay. And like, you know, I'm up here, and you know, he's blessed me up here and given me an awesome opportunity, and I'm just so excited for it, and just excited for all the things that he's done in my life, and grateful, and just want to make the most of everything that we got.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, you're taking the advantage of it since coming up to the CFL for sure. You did spend time with the Brahmas and the Philadelphia Stars. I believe that was XFL and then USFL.
Yep.
You found out obviously that you would be eligible for the CFL draft, and I think at that point, I remember that process where it was like, okay, everything's flipped. What was your reaction to the news finding out that you were eligible, and you know, all of a sudden we're, you know, all likelihood the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, no, it was crazy how fast it all happened. And I remember my agent talking to me like, hey, like I think you'll be able to go into this, like, you're gonna go into this draft, but like I think you'll be able to do the combine as well. I'm like, I'm not gonna do combine, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm a couple years out, right? Like, I already did my combine, and you know, guys don't really repeat that process because a lot of times it takes like an extreme level buy-in, right? Like, it's like a 3 or 4 month like commitment of like diet and everything like that. Luckily, I'm a guy that also, like, I'm pretty dialed on a lot of those things, and so a lot of that doesn't really have to change for me. But just you know, sometimes like a lot of people argue that the combine training really isn't football training, right? And it's you're training for this kind of dog and a pony show, right? So but I did all the training, and shout out to the gym, FSP, man. Like, they took care of me and let me come in with their group and work out and provide every opportunity. And, you know, and even I was working there at the time. And so got to work with them and just kind of tagged along with all the stuff and just kept getting better and better. And then obviously being able to have an opportunity to go out in the combine and being ready for it and been prepared for it. Not sure if it would have happened or not. It was a huge blessing, and being able to go out and kind of put some new numbers to my name of running, you know, in the 4.5s, like that was a huge thing for me. And whether I needed to or not to be drafted number 1 overall, like that's something that like I'll be able to tell my kid about. Right. And so, it was an amazing opportunity. I think it kind of goes to show like the type of guy that I am, right? Like, you know, whatever opportunity that I get, I'm gonna make the absolute most of it. And whether people think it's a good idea or not, or what, if I need to or not, like I want to be the absolute best.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you bring up the combine and that kind of training, because I've seen, you know, multiple times where a lineman finishes a 40-yard dash and says, "Can't wait to never do that again." Like, that's not necessarily football for those guys, but hey, got to do it. It's Joel DeBlanco joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in, the linebacker for the Edmonton Elks. So before we'll get to the season this year, what was your first thought playing linebacker in the Canadian game? I mean, the first thing maybe is just that yard off that you wouldn't have in the American game, but what was your thoughts getting into the CFL?
I was obviously really excited for it. I didn't realize how like different it was going to be. It definitely took me a little while to kind of transition. And I think the biggest thing was like calming my mind down from all the motions. Like, I was just talking to one of my buddies about all the motions that we get, especially when we play a team like BC or something like that, right? Like, we count formations by like it'll be like 23, 32, and you're just counting the strength and the numbers of the receivers. And you know, some pretty common but like kind of gives us troubles a little bit is like formations like 14, 41, like a lot of people on one side of the formation or the other. And, you know, they'll go from 41 to 14 back to 41 in the same play. And you got to be able to track that with your eyes, and then all that to run like an inside zone play. You know what I mean? And so it looks crazy on your eyes, but it's all just window dressing. So that process of, you know, being able to calm your mind down and see it for what it is, right? And not let like all the smoke and mirrors kind of mess with you. But also the field is way bigger, right? And I remember my first year, I'd be chasing after a guy, and I'm like, okay, we're still going here, right? Like this feels like we're like, where's this cliff going to drop off from? But it seemed to never end. But I remember coming back my second year and the field just feeling smaller. And it was funny too, because, I'm training on a, American field down in the States. And, but I come back and the field feels smaller, right? Like this big soccer field we play on. And so, I think having a little bit of that time, and, I was frustrated my first year when I wasn't playing on defense. But it was probably a blessing in disguise, right? Like being more comfortable for the time that I did get an opportunity, being ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been noticeable. I will say, like this year especially, like the plays into the flats or those outs, like, oh, there's 50 again. He's getting there every single time. So
I appreciate it.
You say that. So this team, I mean, last year obviously I think there was some encouraging signs as well, and it started with the new owners and the new president and so forth. With the job Ed Hervey has done, bringing in the talent and the depth has been incredible. What have you seen from the inside as a player, and like things that have led to this record on the field that we wouldn't have seen from the public?
Yeah, no, like you said, I think for us, it feels like a continuation from last year. And really, we just kept getting better, right? Like we were kind of plagued with injuries. Like I think Killam said it at one point. We had like an all-star injury reserve list, right? Like how unique is that, right? For a lot of your best players to go down. But what it did was it started building experience and like game reps and all this stuff from guys that wouldn't have normally been playing. And now kind of growing the bottom, right, to meet the top. And so we added a whole bunch of pieces this year that has made us a lot better, but also like as a team, we've gotten way better. We've had so many more bank reps together. And I know that has extremely paid off, right? And like conversations that we were having last year, just in terms of how we're playing stuff and whatnot, like that didn't happen until the end of the year, right? But now like game 1, game 2, game 3, we're having those conversations, and it just kind of goes to show how much further ahead we were than where we started the year before. And, everybody wants instant success too, but it was a brand new coaching staff, whole new regime and everything like that. So sometimes these things take a little bit of time, and it's just awesome to see some of that hard work kind of show up on the game day. And so, we just take everything week by week. I mean, I said it before, like if you were to ask me last week who we're playing after the bye week, I couldn't tell you, because like I'm so week to week. Like I joke about it with my wife that like it feels like every week I'm cramming for a test, right? And like like the next week I completely forget about everything, and then I start cramming for the next test, and it's a good thing, right? Because like there's so many changes that happen week to week, and differences in the teams and everything. But I think it's just for us, it feels like a continuation, and we just kind of each week it's the process of how do we get better? What areas do we need to continue to get better? And we have this winning formula, and that's playing our brand of football, right? Like running the football at all times, like having 3-4 hats to the ball, great tackling, no leaky yards, and stopping the run, and everything else goes into place. And that's how it feels this year.
Yeah, well, it's been a lot of fun to watch. Edmonton Elks linebacker Joel DeBlanco joining us here on the Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. Let's go back to Friday night, because the first half obviously wasn't really going the way you guys would have wanted. They were rushing the ball over 100 yards, passing through the air, nearly 300 yards total offense. But in the second half, something happened, and you guys absolutely dominated the Bombers. Just 24 yards in the second half, the one field goal. I tweeted it. Like, you guys had to play almost perfect, and you did. You guys went out there and shut the door. What was said by the coaching staff, and what did you guys do to a man to just slow down that Winnipeg offense?
Yeah, no, I think for us, it was just going back to our brand of football. Like, they came out really hot, and we weren't playing to our standard, and making sure, like, hey, guys, like, we took their best shot right here. We got to keep our pedal to the metal because something's going to break, right? And for us on defense, like, we had to stop the run. Like, they were getting way too many yards on the ground, and for them, that's how they roll, right? They roll through Brady, and he's a really good player. But if we're able to shut him down and limit his yards, then put ourselves in, a good spot in second and longs, right? And put us in positions to let our D line go eat up front. And we can send different pressures when we're living in the second and 2 to 3s and 4 to 5s. Like, we don't want to live there, right? We want to live in the 8 to 10 range, and to where we can mix up our coverages and do different stuff. And so for us, it was really stopping the run and putting us in a position to let our D line go eat.
Now, you have a sack and an interception this year. Which one means more?
I'd probably say the sack. I like that play. Yeah.
Playing beside Nick Anderson, he was on the show last week with me and just talked about, when a guy like Brady is the opposition, it kind of gets you fired up.
No doubt.
Potentially good guy against Mills with the Stamps next time you meet. But with Brady, like, what's the key to tackling him? Because he just looks like a bowling ball out there.
Yeah, you go low. Yeah, you go low. And he's I don't know how tall he is, or how much he weighs, but he's a haul to take down, and he's good, and he's been having a lot of success in this league, and obviously been doing it a lot longer than I have, and is one of the best backs in the league. And so me and Nick were fired up for the challenge this week, and going against him. So it was a lot of fun.
Joel, just a couple quick ones for you. How much is it meant to have your defensive coordinator, JC Sherrod, be there and also be a guy who played the linebacker position like you? How much has that helped?
Oh, it helped so much, and super blessed to have JC as my coach. I remember going through the combine process, and I think Sask had the third pick, and he was the linebacker coach for the week too, for the combine guys, and kind of leading us through this. And I was like, man, it would be awesome to play for that guy. And lo and behold, a year into my career, he comes over, and I was like, this is perfect, right? It kind of felt a little bit like college, right? From having a different coaching staff that brought me in, and then this other one coming in, and just, really gelling and clicking with him. And so we have a lot of fun. And like you said, like having somebody that played the position that's like for the Elks, right? Or for the Eskimos, you know what I mean? Like, talk about having pride, having AG here, like pride in the city and everything like that. Like, this is home for them. You know what I mean? This is their end game. That, like, he dreamt of being a defensive coordinator for the Eskimos, right? And he gets to be. So, it's awesome to be able to work with him, and excited for, years to come.
Does he and Grimes ever show you guys old footage from 2015?
No, sometimes we see it sometimes. And I remember one AG popped up on a special teams clip, and it was more of a highlight, I think, for Calgary and back in the day. But we were getting on AG. I don't know if he was running the ball on that one, but he's like, I was getting ready to play man. So yeah, but we have a good time, and it's a lot of fun.
You got to get him. That defense was awesome to watch. I went on to win the Grey Cup, and they had a really good group there. Well, Joel, really appreciate it. Bye week. What are you getting up to in the next few days here?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. We got the little kid here, and would like to get away, spend some time with the family. Obviously, just going to relax and make sure the wife's taken care of. Looking around for some hunting opportunities. If anybody's got some hookups, let me know. Any land access, and if you got any big bucks or moose or whatever that need to be put down, just hit me up. Hit me up on Instagram. So I appreciate you guys.
We'll put the call out there, and if anyone lets us know, we'll pass it along. Joel, thanks so much for your time today, man. Good luck with the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
For sure. Joel DeBlanco, Edmonton Elks linebacker, leading the team in tackles, got the sack, the interception, doing it all. And like I said, just flying to the football this season. He's been a lot of fun to watch. As have a lot of guys on the defense. This group is together and heating up at the right time, getting the job done when it matters. We'll take a break here. When we come back, more text. We'll also get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fan.
Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Just products for the best brands and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at UL.ca and win that project.
Plug it into your WEL.ca account today.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Jaffa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Days tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Thinking of growing your business? In partnership with Prairie's Can, the Alberta Chambers of Commerce is helping businesses explore new opportunities, new markets, and build connections through organized trade missions across Canada. Find the right mission for you at abchamber.ca/trade missions.
Ford employee pricing is on now, and you pay what we pay on virtually our entire lineup of Ford vehicles. Visit your Alberta Ford store today.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Missioner Island Auctioneering's Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Equipment Auction is this Friday at 9 a.m. featuring articulated dump trucks, backhoes, dozer, excavators, forklifts, graders, loaders, man lifts, packers, skid steers, telehandlers, turf mowers, plus commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque. Made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at CanTorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.251, welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Go check them out. You got the Lotto Max tonight, the Lotto 649 Gold Ball Jackpot tomorrow, and our daily picks, boosted, of course. Remember to use your game sense. Also, quick shout out to Trent Wilhock coming by today, setting us up with a little bit of beef jerky, some pepperoni as well. I had to stay away from the hot stuff, but just confirming the best beef jerky in not only Alberta, in my humble opinion, but I would say in Canada. I'd take it even further at some point here. Text lines 1-833-414-40. Down South Williams says, great guest interview. Yeah, he's awesome. Joel is absolutely a great interview. A reason we wanted to get him on the show today. Talk a little bit about his story. Because it is really cool. Like going to the NFL, playing in a few leagues, then finding out like, oh, you got a Canadian family. You're Canadian. You can go first overall in the draft. I think it was his mom. Is Joel DeBlanco the next Alex Singleton? Well, he's 28. I just want to check here when Alex made the jump. He was really good with the Stampeders. We know that. Helped them win a Grey Cup. He jumped at 26 to the NFL. So 26, he appeared in 10 games. When he was 27 in 2020, started 11 for the Eagles, then 8, then 12, and then moved to Denver. And we had Susie, I'm talking about his cancer diagnosis, tearing the ACL, but since then, like the last season, he's been one of the guys in Denver. So I don't know, it might be a little bit late for Joel, because by the time they're the same age, Alex was in his third year in the NFL. But you never know, right? You never know what could happen. But I think playing here in Edmonton, that would be a huge loss if it were to happen, because he's been really good for the green gold this season. Now, we mentioned earlier on, we're going to get a Cam Gates 2-minute warning because yesterday on the show, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. So we're going to run this 2-minute warning from yesterday today, and then later on in the show, we'll get to the most recent version. But let's fire off right now. Cam Gates 2-minute warning.
You know, you can draw up all the fancy plays you want on a chalkboard, but football really comes down to what's in a guy's heart on 3rd and 1. Culture is that quiet trust in the huddle. It's knowing the guy next to you is going to pick you up off the turf, no matter how hard you just got hit. That isn't scheme. That's just love for the brotherhood. There are lots of headlines, many in bold, about the season the Edmonton Elks are having. They are certainly warranted, especially from their come-from-behind win Friday night. Edmonton Elks general manager Ed Hervey.
Coaches we could have selected to come in and coach with experience and all these other things. But for what we need to accomplish in Edmonton right now and moving forward and getting people excited and being able to touch lives and be able to really create that environment where the players feel that someone cares about them. There was no question who was going to get this opportunity. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our head coach, Mark Kelly.
That was exactly 630 days ago, December 2nd, 2024, when Hervey introduced head coach Mark Killam. Didn't someone once say, good things come in time? Let's amend that and add, if a good plan is in place. 2-minute warning as the Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley continues on Sports 14.
Morning. Can't say enough good things with what this team has done. They're bringing Mark. Like they built up this culture. We talked about it a little bit. If you check out on social media, go Elks. You watch those post-game clips with head coach Mark Killam, and it's phenomenal. The energy they have created there, there's the buzz, and it's really awesome to watch. We'll get the Cam Gates 2-minute warning again. And later on today at 5:40, just scrolling through the social media and saw that the Minnesota Wild, speaking of them, Peter Comey will be the new hockey operations analyst, but also emergency backup, aka E-Bug. He's going to wear number 00. Chris Johnson reporting further to this. Every E-Bug is going to wear number 00 for the teams this season. That's funny. It makes sense, just because the number that nobody else will wear. Now, how many E-Bug jerseys will be purchased with 00? That's my question. There's some diehard fans out there. Maybe that's the next commitment they make. The old 00. But that's an interesting little note there. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll be joined by former NHLer, podcaster, actor, Hall of Famer Terry Ryan. We'll hear from Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM. Plus, we'll get to the stats of the day. Is the Jason Gregor Show, Connor Halley sitting in. But first, let's look at the Sports 14 update with Devin Kruger, brought to you by Go Auto. Shop over 17,000 vehicles at GoAuto.ca with 31 new vehicle brands and 73 locations to choose from. Find your car at GoAuto.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Around sporting worlds, the Minnesota Wild remain in negotiations with the Penguins Queens. These trade talks taking place on Blue placing right hand. Shane Bieber on the 15-day IL and deep following right hand. Chat Dallas. Washington Capitals signing Cal Peterson to a professional tryout, and the PGA Tour Commission cannot say that there is no half-packed plan for years. And the action gets wanted for fully with the Red Sox and Wild. Well, the Rays and the Tigers late games tonight in relief. We'll see the Red and the Giants. Of course, the Toronto Blue Jays will be action at 5:07. They play with the Royals. Max Scherzer on the bomb. That one. WNBA action through Game Sky and Sun at 5 o'clock. Fire and Wings at 6, and then the Mystics and Mercury at 8. That concludes. This is the Sports 1440 update.
Download the free radio app and listen to
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hot coffee, hot takes, and the sports stories. Then check out Tom Gazzola weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440. Conversation 833-401-1440.
You don't just need property services. You need problem handled. Hire Good provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property. Keep bases safe and take pressure. Union. You're banking with a rural urban cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Your bank do that? We do locally. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Heavy Truck Auction is this Thursday at 9 a.m. featuring tri-axle, tandem, single-axle trucks including cab and chassis, decks, diggers, dumps, pickers, tractors, vacs, and service trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Nation Golf Tournament. This Friday at Millwoods Golf Course, golf drinks, swag, food, and fun. Every swing supports Gregor's grads and helps graduates shine on graduation day. Sign up at nationexperiences.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight's Lotto Max, an estimated $10 million. Tomorrow, you got the Lotto 649 $18 million gold ball jackpot. And of course, you can always check out the sports section, check out the Jason Gregor Show specials. Of course, they'll be boosted. Remember, though, to use your game sense. Connor Halley, Duncan Kruger, Mackenzie McLennan. We got Connor Spivak and Cam Tate in the studio, a full house. And we'll bring someone else in here for the next segment, at least, as we are joined by our co-host, former NHLer. Of course, one of the stars of Shoresy. You can see him elsewhere. Podcast, the Hall of Famer, Terry Ryan joins us. TR, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I caught my first Atlantic salmon. Well, my first salmon of any sort this morning. It was a real rush at my buddy Chris Sparks' cabin on the Gander River. It was just awesome.
So for that, is that like deep sea? Are you going out a little further than usual, or what was the like?
There's. You know, I don't know how Pacific salmon, I don't know anything about them. Over here, salmon fishing is really popular. It's hard to hook one, right? You can't use barb on the hook. There's a lot of rules. There's only certain places you can go. They come up the river to spawn, so they're not hungry. You're kind of aggravating them. That's why you got to work on them for so long. We were like hours and hours before even getting a rise. But yeah, and we were on the Gander River today. Then there's the exploits, the salmon air, and the humber. Maybe a few offshoots of those here in Newfoundland. A few in New Brunswick that I know of. But we're real big on salmon fishing over here, and they're real strong. They're smart. So a lot of people base their whole summer around it. There's lots of cabins where we are. A lot of people from other places that come here. So, I mean, it must be pretty good. I mean, I'd go, honestly, because you got to be patient. So, for salmon fishing, I mean, there's places to go trout fishing, and you'll get one every second or third cast. But, I just like it out there. Just the process. It's so nice. It's majestic being out on the water and, only having to worry about catching a fish,
Relaxing for sure. TR, we had Elks linebacker Joel DeBlanco on the show in the first hour here and kind of talked about, going back to when he was younger and making that decision to go from Washington to play his college football in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, you at a younger age would have made that decision to go from Newfoundland out to BC. What went into that decision and, how tough was that at such a young age to go play with Cunell?
That was one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life, looking back. Well, Newfoundland wasn't heavily scouted. Well, it wasn't scouted at all. You had to leave. You had to win a tournament to leave. John Slaney went 9th overall in '91. Big goal for Canada. Same thing. I mean, he was. I mean, he think he would be really dominant. He was, but no one cared. Pretty much any example I can think of people who went beyond, minor hockey to play on the mainland. It was a result of winning a tournament, playing at a national or an Atlantics. Other than my dad's group, now 4 or 5 guys off my dad's Bantam team from small Grand Falls, Newfoundland, played pro of some sort. Really, really odd. And even for the time, there was nothing like that. There was decades go by and we had like 2 or 3 people even play one game in the WHA or the NHL. So that was really unique. But Joe Byrne, the rink now in Grand Falls is called the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium because Joe Byrne was a retired professional hockey player and went in to run minor hockey for Abbotsford Price. So I mean, I guess the mainland came to Grand Falls. But other than that, really, right up until I was growing up, so I went up to the Quebec Pee Wee tournament, and I was really getting fairly dominant around here. I know that sounds cocky, but anybody there's lots in Alberta that are listening to this. I'm not exaggerating at all. Like I was, I had a growth spurt. I was a real good player anyway, but I mean like almost the size I am now. We went up to Quebec and we kept winning. I kept scoring and like beating like Toronto Red Wing, like things that Mount Pearl wouldn't normally do. And really we had an inferiority complex too. Like I never thought I was any big deal, maybe in Newfoundland, but that might get me, in the in crowd. It might get me an extra, few minutes to talk to a girl after McDonald's or something. But I really didn't think anything like I had a pro opportunity. But my dad played professional hockey, right? He played major junior because of Joe Byrne. He played in the WHA. He was drafted to the NHL in the WHA. So he said, the Tri-City Americans are interested. They saw me at the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. That's what happened. And, I had to really, really beg him to be honest because I didn't really want to go. I didn't want to go. Like I really wanted to stay right up until we got up onto the plane, which was only a few months later. I just said, is this a dream of yours or mine? However I worded it, and I was convinced that I didn't have the parts. I don't know. We were really, like I said before that, I'd played national tournaments in baseball, soccer, and ball hockey, and we'd always play the host the first game, so they'd win 10-1, and everybody get a free hot dog. I really had an inferiority complex about the province, and it's something that I'm glad we overcame over top. It was a lot of people, right? So, I mean, it was an odd time. So for me, it was desperation. The cod moratorium happened outside of my dad. Any offshoot of my family, either way, is to do with fishing one way or another. So it was a bad time to be in Newfoundland if you had any opportunity in anything, But now after that, I will say, like bands like Great Big Sea, out of that kind of semi-oppression or whatever you would call it, always come like arts and athletes and after that, it was Great Big Sea, like I said, then Republic of Doyle shortly after that on film, and all kinds of bands and TV shows since, and players. I mean, John went, and then I went, and then right after it, Cleary and Druken and Party, Ryder, Clough, right up until Newhook and Dawson Mercer. Now, so that kind of it really broke down a barrier. It seemed like at the end of that 80s, we had barely anybody playing professional hockey. There was a lot of things that kind of made the door come crashing down, but desperation was one of it. And I just thought, as I know I was 14, but I was old enough to see people, just having to move and they just have no money and people that were close to me. So part of mine was like, okay, if this is real, then I'm going to go. And as soon as I got there, I didn't like the fact that I was I was playing junior, man. I ended up leading my junior team in scoring as a first-year bantam. It was insane. But that did it. I didn't want to be there right up until like November, probably. But I was like, okay, proof's in the pudding here. There must be something that I can bring to the table in the WHL, and I stayed away, and lo and behold.
Yeah, I mean, you look at your stats. Obviously, won first round to the Canadians. It obviously was the right decision in the end. Now, TR, let's take a look at the NHL today. And there's not much happening, but Michael Russo from the Athletic putting it out there that any trade reports regarding Quinn Hughes are BS, invented by bloggers. His words, not mine. But they are still looking at contract negotiations. So Declan and I have kind of discussed it. We come out on different sides of it. I think if I'm Quinn Hughes, and I have the opportunity to at least explore free agency, I'd be doing a disservice to myself not taking a look. That being said, the door, I think, would be open to return to Minnesota. Where do you come out on this? Do you think he resigns before the end of the season, or do you think he looks at free agency?
This is a great question, and it really is. It's like a judgment. There's so many nuances to that it's whatever situation you're in. I would always, if I like the situation, and it's a team sport, I'd have no problem taking less money. It's easy to say. I know that when you don't have it, but if it was but then if it was a money thing, there's also outside motivation to play with his brothers, right? And you don't know what those guys got on Team USA. Maybe they all want to go. They'll come up with another plan, and they'll all demand a trade again. I really don't know. There's so many nuances. If it's me, Minnesota seems like a pretty cool place. I've been there before. I really like it. Reminds me a lot of Canada. I could see if you're American, I could see that being a great destination. And I would love to lock it up. But I mean, of course, things being the way they are, I think he'll definitely explore free agency. I would honestly be I'm very, very confident. I'll chop off my pinky if he doesn't, but I can't guarantee I would if I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that as well. And I think, it's easy for me to say not being in the situation. Minnesota seems outstanding. They obviously have a good team, probably a few pieces away, good general manager. But I also think that temptation to play with your brothers would be something. And then, that division's tough. Like, and the Utah Mammoth are getting better. It's going to be really intriguing to see what happens. And I think for the Minnesota Wild, team success is the best thing they can hope for till they get there. As Terry Ryan joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, Connor Halley sitting in. TR, the Toronto Blue Jays. I didn't think we'd be in this situation looking at them saying, okay, like they've put themselves back in a spot where realistically they can get into that final wild card spot. And down the stretch here, it's been well documented, no team above 500. So what are your expectations for the Blue Jays down the stretch here? You think they're going to find a way to get back in?
As far as expectations, do I expect them to get in? I can't say I expect them to, but I think given where they are now, I fully expect a very close race. I expect them to be at the top of it, given their schedule. And it is deceiving when you say that because Kansas City just won 7 or 8 or 9 in a row. They're on a roll. I know that. And then you got some of the other teams are like, they're below 500, but better than the Blue Jays or right. So, but yes, definitely compared to the Rays and the Red Sox and the Yankees as of late, they have an easier schedule, and they've proved it against those guys. And it seems to me it's weird because out of all this inconsistency, they're consistently now getting big moments from players that you least expected from. And that's kind of what they built their brand on last year, a little bit earlier than this, and a little bit more exaggerated, obviously. Now they're clawing tooth and nail for a spot, and on some of it's luck. But there's something to be said about, inspired young players coming up. And, you see a guy like Vladdy in this huge, just mental game that, you see this big Babe Ruth looking dude that can just, he can hit it 500 feet if he gets a hole. and yet he's just like, it's like Casey at the bat. He just can't get it done. I'm honestly like, you or I could probably go up there and hit a ground ball somewhere and get it through. This guy's clearly in his own head, and meanwhile, you get I'm not saying I can't identify. We can all at some point, as an athlete or as anything. You could be in a choir, you could be a musician, you could be. You just when you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. It could be a video game, and you're not feeling it, and you just can't get out of it. And you're trying to do so many different things and change stuff up, or should I keep it the same? Do I have confidence in the way it is? Like we know he knows how to swing the bat, right? You're already in the major leagues. You're already, but so these weird, dichotomies of the mind that happen within all that psychological game. Yet, on the other side of it, when you're young and inspired, I guess you don't have to be young, but like when you're in the zone, so to speak, right? It's just like the ball becomes as big as a beach ball. And it seems even when you strike out, the catcher drops it and you get a first base out of it. Like it's wild how that flows. It's almost like karma right in front of your eyes. And right now, the Jays have more of that inspired karma than they do kind of depressing, consistently negative karma. And it's outweighing slightly, but it's starting to just outweigh that part of it as we go. So hopefully, and given, I don't care what's going on, inspired or not, you're right. The schedule now, and they're still going to have to bat, well over 500 here, a little bit, I guess, over 500. But I think it's entirely possible, and they've put themselves in that position, which we, as fans, you should really tip of the hat, given their move at the deadline moves, and the way that they've kind of navigated this situation because no one saw it coming in.
Yeah, and it is interesting. You mentioned the Royals. I mean, they are still 6 games back to the Jays, but 9-1 in their last 10, winners of 8 straight. And then the Guardians holding down that final wild card spot. They surpassed Houston. They won 5 in a row. So, yeah, it's interesting to see how it's going to play out for the Blue Jays. They'll be without Bieber, who went on the 15-day IL, retroactive to the 21st. So he'll be out for another 10 days, give or take. It's going to be a fun stretch. TR, what are you getting up to for the rest of the night?
Oh, tonight my daughter and I are going to watch the first half of a movie. We often break them up in twos. We just finished Shawshank Redemption last week. Figured she had to see that. It's my excuse. We either read or we do something historical. I want her to learn something. And, when it's summertime, that's in the winter. And you learn something. You can also learn something from watching historical movies, right? You're learning a little bit about history. This is Shawshank Redemption and why it's so good. So we're starting with another biopic tonight. It's going to be Walk the Line, Johnny Cash.
Oh, excellent. Have you got her into any of the Westerns you were telling me about?
Yeah, actually a couple. I did. I forgot I sent you that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sergio Leone. Well, a big Tarantino fan. I got into it backwards. I'd seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I didn't realize it was part of a trilogy. And as a kid, It goes on and on. It's like over 3 hours. But Fistful of Dollars is like an hour and a half. I went back and watched it after Tarantino built this thing up, and I was like, it can't be as good as he says it is. And it's all cleaned up. When I was younger, now you're watching it full on HD, and that does make a difference. But yeah, those are fantastic movies. No, she hasn't seen all 3 of them yet, but we're going backwards. We saw Tombstone and The Unforgiven, right?
Yeah.
Getting her, I think, to go right to something in the 1960s might scare off a youngin', as they say.
Yeah, got to get them into the genre and then build up from there. But yeah, those are the ones I still got to get into as well because, yeah, we did The Good, the Bad, the Ugly a few years ago. The rest I do need to watch, and I'm appreciative of you reaching out and letting me know that. So, TR, thanks for doing this today. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Enjoy the first half of it.
Thanks, Connor. Thanks, Declan. Thank you, Edmonton, and we'll chat again soon.
There you go. Terry Ryan, star of Shoresy, former first-round pick of the Montreal Canadiens, and a Tuesday-Thursday guest here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in, Mackenzie McLean, we got Connor Speed. You got the intern, and Cam Tape here in studio. When we come back, we'll go around the NHL with Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM NHL, and we get his thoughts on the Quinn Hughes situation and a few other topics. It is the Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Crispy caramelized edges of Eloise Airy Center. Meet the new Papa John's pan pizza made with Parmesan and Romano cheese. Papa John's special garlic sauce and Italian seasoning, all baked directly into the bottom of the crust for a signature golden finish and crispy, savory crunch. Grab a medium pan pizza for just $16.99 today at your local Papa John's. Order now in the app or at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Are you a skilled laborer? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with travel or backhoe experience, All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too, with work in and around Edmonton for local and developers. All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with travel or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Corruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild. Online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
With Lowside, weekdays from noon to 2 on Sports 1440. He's seen it all and then some. From stats to stories, he breaks it down like no one else. Proud to be Edmonton sports leader. Sports 1440. Mr. Rooter cries like a little tiny baby child.
Hey, Mr. Rooter, you've got a package from Mrs. Rooter.
Aw, the card says, thank you for our unbreakable bond. You're the pro press fitting of my copper pipe.
What's in the package, Mr. Rooter?
Let's see. It's a Columbus 2000 spud wrench. She knew I'd never buy one for myself.
Just like dealers. Each blow. No, it's free with Mr. Rooter.
I love this woman.
Are you looking for safe and reliable transportation solutions for your wedding, corporate retreat, or golf trip? Look no further than Silent Ride, Alberta's premier charter bus company. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer 3 different sizes of units to cater to your needs, and we provide first-class service at affordable rates. Hit your quote today. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machine you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit JapaEquipment.com or stop our Edmonton or Calgary locations. For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like area? Adjusted and made in China. When Canadian-made is better. Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save on Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save on Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
Your Auctioneering Calgary Edmonton Winnipeg Public Reserve Equipment Auction is this Friday at 9 a.m. Featuring loaders, man lifts, packers, skid steers, telehandlers, turf mowers, plus commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Soldier Boy, tell me. Hey, I got the new dance for y'all called the Soldier Boy. You got a
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. We treat pain and injuries head to toe and some other issues that might surprise you, like incontinence, vertigo, neuropathy, and cognitive issues. We invest in the technology, techniques, skills, and people who know how and what to fix. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight, the Lotto Max, an estimated $10 million. Tomorrow, the Lotto 649. Gold Ball Jackpot, 18 mil. And of course, we got our specials. PlayAlberta.ca/sports. Check out the Jason Gregor Show tab. Boosted odds as per usual. Should we get into Dave McCarthy right away here from Sirius XM as we'll go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's. The most wanted menu items from around the world have landed in Canada. Now the McDonald's World Menu Heist at select restaurants. Hurry in before you have to give them back. Only at McDonald's. As we're getting closer, day by day, the NHL season is creeping closer and closer. In exactly 1 month, we're going to be talking about getting ready for opening night, September 29th. We'll also be talking about the preseason because that will be here in full swing as well. Probably hyping up some guys who don't deserve it and ripping on guys who don't deserve it. That's just kind of the way the preseason goes. As we are joined by Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM NHL here on the Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. Dave, good afternoon. What's going on?
Not much, Connor. What's going on? Sorry if I was a minute or two late. I was actually on with the with my employer there. So here we go. One hit again, back to back here.
What were you guys talking about? Just hockey and stuff?
The Toronto Maple Leafs. Boys are doing their season previews, and so they gave me the tap on the shoulder to talk Leafs.
That's fair. That's fair. I would do that, but then we'll have people complaining that all you guys do is talk about Leafs. So
hey, I get that all the time. I get that all the time. Honestly, Connor, like weeks, if not a full month, will go by on the brunch where, but for the game prior on the Saturday night, I do not mention the Maple Leafs. And the amount of messages that I get, all he ever does is talk about the Leafs. It's like I haven't talked about them in 6 weeks.
We would, do our NHL previews. So one of 32 days would be Maple Leafs, and we'd get the text rolling in. Oh, is this the initiative from the company back when we were TSN?
Yeah.
No, they never told us to talk about Toronto. All Oilers, come on. But yeah, I get that. So let's go away as far as we can.
Good.
In Canada from Toronto out to Vancouver, and we're seeing reports. There's a timeline that could push the Vancouver Canucks towards a Brock Besser trade. Do you foresee that timeline being this season? Do you think there's any teams that should be making that phone call? How do you think this all plays out? Because, we know the Canucks right now, that they're right in it when it comes to rebuilding.
Yeah, like I never really understood why Brock Besser returned to Vancouver as a free agent. Like, what a weird circumstance that was, the way that played out, where it looked like they were trying to trade him the deadline prior. And then July 1st, not this year, last year, returns to Vancouver. It didn't make sense. And so, look, he's a guy that has been, I guess, okay over the last number of years, but has not necessarily been the guy that we came to expect earlier in his career. Like, I'm just looking up his exact stats last year. He had 22 goals, 48 points. Like, that's not great. But Vancouver's also been garbage the last couple of years. So in a better circumstance, could he be a more effective player at the age of just 29? Yeah, I think he probably could be. And with where the cap has gone over the last year or so, you get a guy who's going to turn 30 in February on the books for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more seasons at just over 7. I think there's a lot of value there. But I think what is more likely to happen is that he's going to have to play good in Vancouver to start the season before anybody's going to be willing to give up a package the likes of which Vancouver probably would be looking for if they're going to move on from him at this point. Makes no sense to sell him at pennies on the dollar, but he's kind of played like a pennies on the dollar player over the last couple of years. So I guess what I'd say is if he plays good in the first half of the year, then suddenly I think a market cultivates itself for Brock Besser. If he continues to be a guy that looks like he's going to have a hard time getting much beyond 20 goals, 45, 50 points, you might be able to trade him. but you're certainly not getting a lot back for him.
Let's stay out in Vancouver, because another name that pops up would be Elias Pettersson, and we know what he can do, what he has done in the past. 39 goal season, 32, 28, 27. The last 2 seasons, not in entire seasons. There's been some injuries. 15 goals. But that $11.6 million anchor is a problem. Even with money retained, it might be tough for some teams to swallow. Do you think they would look to move on from him? And if so, is anyone willing to just risk it for the biscuit, per se?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, another weird circumstance how that played out. Like, the guy was dynamite, really, up until almost exactly the point that the pen hit the table after he signed the current extension that you just invoked. And since then, he has been not good at all. Not good at all. It's not just the last 2 years. It was really the last 2.5, 3 months of the year that he signed that extension that he was no good. And so, like, that one, I'm sure they'd probably love to move him. But again, at that type of money, it would be one of those, I like to call them at this time of year when a guy like that gets moved, a donation deal. You take him, please, off our hands. Don't give us anything. We don't want anything. Just take him off our hands. But even with that, you take it on 11 plus, even if I'm not giving anything for it, I got to be reasonably sure that I'm getting a guy that's going to score more than 15 goals a year. Otherwise, I've just sewered myself if I'm the acquiring team. So same like Brock Besser, but I think even to a greater extent, he is going to have to show that he can get back to the level that saw him be almost a 40-goal guy, a 90, 100-point guy 3 or 4 years ago, before there's any marketplace on that, especially with a number over $11 million.
Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. The Quinn Hughes rumors, I believe, as Michael Russo said, the podcasters sparking the trade rumors that he says don't have any truth to them. But it is an interesting situation because we know he's one of the most dynamic players in the NHL, a chance for him to really cash in. Minnesota's got a good team, tough competition in that division. And then we are here talking to people about the reunion with his brothers. So if you were giving him advice for this upcoming 11 months, what would the advice be, Dave?
That's a good question. Look, I think what Quinn Hughes is all about, in the sense that I get from him and certainly from Jack, is that they're uber confident in their own skin, and the amount of attention that they give to what folks like you and I and people that attend the games think of them is about this, 0. And they're quite confident and comfortable in doing that. I think I think Quinn Hughes is going to do whatever it is he feels he's most happy with. And I do not feel as though the criticism that he will get for it will affect him in any way. And so I think he's looking to hit a home run right now. And I think he's using that as his leverage point in Minnesota. You want me to stay? All right. You got to give me a lot of money. Like, it's got to start with a 2. That's not anything that I've heard substantively, but I'm just surmising and like, if I was the agent, that's how I'd be going about it right now, given all of what I just said. If that's in fact true, which I do believe it is, and you can handle the criticism, that's your leverage point right now. It's your leverage point. You really want me? I don't really care what you gave up for me. That's not my problem. That's your problem. I didn't ask to be traded. You went out and did it. That's up to you. But you really want me? All right. $20 million a year on however many years he wants to sign. And if I don't get that, well, then, we'll see what happens. I'm a year away from UFA status, and I really don't think it will affect him. The consternation and the speculation and everything that'll go along with playing the year out as a pending unrestricted free agent. I don't think it'll hurt his play. I really don't. And then once you get to unrestricted free agency, it's not like John Tavares leaving the island or Mitch Marner leaving Toronto. Like there's not a built-up level of connection to Minnesota the way there was in those two cases that I just mentioned. He's been there for a year and a half. He doesn't know him squat. He doesn't. So he gets to UFA status, then he can do what he wants. And there will be all kinds of a marketplace for Quinn Hughes if he gets to free agency, likely including from the New Jersey Devils as well, to reunite with his brothers. So that's kind of how I see it playing out this year. I think the number that he gets, if it is in Minnesota, not unlike Kirill Kaprizov last summer, the reaction will be, holy cow. And if he doesn't get that, I think he's prepared to wait it out.
Yeah, it's funny because you bring like every team should really just have that money just in case. Like we've heard that from beat reporters on this show, like in 2 years when Connor McDavid's a free agent.
Yeah, but see, that I also think is garbage too. I really do. Like, should the Utah Mammoth keep $20 million lying around just in case he's not coming to Utah. No disrespect to Utah at all. Really, it's not. I'll mix in another team, the Carolina Hurricanes, or the Boston Bruins, whoever it is. I don't think he's coming there. So I think there's a limited number of teams that can play that game. I do think Toronto would and should be one of them. But if you're a team, I'm not even going to name a team now, but if you're a team where any reasonable person knows it could be $30 million he's not coming there, you cannot use that as a justification for not doing anything else. That's foolish and mismanagement, quite honestly. Your team will not be founded on the fortunes of Connor McDavid. He was never coming there in the first place. You better have another plan in mind. That's how I'd say that needs to play out.
There'd be 31 teams in the NHL with a lot of money to spend in that situation. You brought up Utah there. I was going to ask you, do you think they will supplant any of the teams ahead of them in the standings this year, the Wild, Stars, or Avs?
That's probably going to be tough, but I could see them firmly being the fourth place team in that division, because I do think they're a really good team, and I only think they're going to get better. You look at that division right now, I do think that's a top-heavy, bottom-heavy division. I think it's Colorado, Minnesota, and/or Dallas, and Utah. And then after that, I think St. Louis is meh. The Jets are in big trouble, I think. I think Connor Hellebuyck is going to be moved. I really do. What they get back for him remains to be seen. If they can make a savvy deal, they should be able to get back some parts. But, I think they'd be fighting. Nashville is, I think, a step below Utah. Chicago is a step below Utah. So I do think that's a top-heavy division. I think Utah has the ability to play themselves into a position where they're much closer to the top three than they are to the rest of the pack in that division. Because I don't see any reason, I don't know about you, Connor, why Colorado, Dallas, or Minnesota would be any less good than they were last year.
No, unless it's the unforeseen and injury, perhaps. I think that would probably be the only way. But I am intrigued by Utah just to see what kind of jump they will take, because it's a great division. There's some easy games on the schedule, but there's also those tough ones, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Final question, Dave, before we let you go here. The other team in Ontario, the Senators, without a captain, and Bruce Garriock reporting that they are close to landing their next captain or announcing the next captain. Thomas Chabot would be in that category, though the contract isn't as long as Sanderson or Stützle. From an outside perspective, is there an ideal captain with that team, in your opinion?
That's a tough one. I think it would probably come down, if you were to ask me, to Jake Sanderson or Timothy Stützle. though I don't know if I'd go. I probably would like probably Thomas Chabot, but the contract is, something that you want to keep in mind because how many years does he have left? Not a ton, right?
No, he's eligible for the new deal next summer.
Right, so 2 years. And there's no guarantee that he comes back to Ottawa. So, when I'm naming a captain, I want to have a reasonable assurance that the guy's going to be there for 4+ years. And that's uncertain with Thomas Chabot. So I'd probably lean to Jake Sanderson if I had to name a captain. I think Timothy Stützle is a really good player. And he does, I like talking to the guy because he's real, right? He lays it on the line. He lets it rip. But I also kind of get the sense that he's a guy where he's probably at his best if you just let him be him and not have to worry about the day-to-day responsibilities of what goes along with being the captain. I think Jake Sanderson's maybe a little bit more understated. I think he can maybe say a little bit more often without saying anything, if you know what I mean, which I think at times is good in a captain. He's always around. He can put out fires. He doesn't add fuel inadvertently to a fire. That often real ones can through no fault. Again, I love Timothy Stützle, but he shoots from the hip, and maybe sometimes that's not the best. I would probably lean with Jake Sanderson if I was to pick a captain in Ottawa.
Yeah, and he's there for at least I think the next 5 years, and a good leadership core they had there. No doubt about it. Dave, thanks so much for doing this today. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, buddy. See you then.
Absolutely. Dave McCarthy of SiriusXM NHL joining us here as he does every Tuesday on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. We will take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll get to the stats of the day. Still to come. We'll head down to Atlanta, talk some Falcons with the roundtable, 5 questions, spec. AJ Jackieback of Ottawa will join us to talk about the Red Blacks. Maybe we'll throw that question to him as well, who he thinks might be the next captain of the Sens organization. Let us know your thoughts. 1-833-401-1440 or over to the YouTube stream at Sports 1440 AM. You can get in on the chat there as well. It is the Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable, call Legacy. Call Legacy. With no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
2006. We saw the launch of Twitter. JT was #1 with Sexy Back. In the corner of Jasper Ave and 118 was never the same.
On the Rocks. Celebrate 20 years of OTR.
Friday, September 18th.
With Whale and the Wolf. Whale and the Wolf.
20 years of music. Memories.
20 years of On the Rocks.
Friday, September 18th. Get in early, Jasper Ave and 118th.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layouts offering premier conditions. The ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
The Chicken Parmy Burger. Make extreme pulled pork, garlic, and black pepper chicken McNuggets. Cheesy bacon McFlavor fries. And the Stroop Waffle McFlurry. You've scrolled them. You've screenshotted them. You've never been able to order them until now. This is the McDonald's World Menu Heist. The most wanted menu items taken from around the world, now in Canada. Get them while you can. For limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Do you know why people love working at GS Construction? It's honest work. It's work that needs to be done. And we're really good at what we do. That's why GS Construction has been
business for over 50 years. We won't be wearing the top hat and tails, more like hard hat and boots, because we're heading underground to keep the water flowing in and out of your homes and businesses in Edmonton. GS Construction is currently looking for experienced pipe players and strong men. Visit gsconstruction.ca/careers today.
Need an excuse to upgrade your ride? Well, we got a few to share. 15,000 new and used vehicles ready to test drive right now. With more than 70 locations, your perfect match could be closer than you think. A family-friendly SUV for soccer practice, a fuel-sipping commuter, or a hardworking truck that's ready for anything. Trusted brands and a team that's actually happy to help. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
School's almost out, and road trip season is just around the corner. But if your brakes sound like they're grinding harder than a hockey fourth liner, it might be time to visit Napa Auto Parts. Napa has all the quality parts, tools, and know-how to help keep your vehicle running smoothly and road ready. With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWill. Helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From pod lights to electrical panels, the gear you need is at ewill.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. ewill.ca, your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Same day as the Super Bowl. So, fellas, ladies, if you're listening out there and you want to get ahead of this, I might have stumbled onto a good piece of advice. Young Connor, he's got a lucky lady in his life, and I think that it's important on Valentine's Day to make sure you treat your partner well. But here's my idea, guys and girls. You want to do something? Brunch. Brunch on Valentine's Day. Go around 10:30. You're done by 12:30. You'll be tired from consumption. And then you just go back and you hunker down on the couch and watch some football. It's kind of the perfect day. Win-win on both sides. Remember that. Find a great brunch spot for Valentine's Day this year. Get your rezos so you're not rushing last second. Or risk the consequences. Or do it the night before. That's one of the things that I've always kind of been a fan of. Valentine's Day, let's say it's on like the Thursday. Wait till the Saturday, wait till the Sunday. Do it then. MTR in the same position. Just go with Saturday. It's simple. I agree. It's always kind of been that way. My birthday is 2 days before. I always hate that turnaround, March 14th is better from Awful Lot. What's on March 14th? Take a month later? John St. Albert, hey, when is Jason returning? But also said, Connor, you're doing great. Thank you. Jason will be back next week. Just doing a little vacationing, getting a little away from for a bit. Friday, he'll be at the Oilersnation Network Nation Golf Tournament. I think that's what it is. As they're raising money for Gregor's grads. I think there's actually a spot open if you did want to get in on that. That's going to be a good time. Some drinks, some food, some golf. Just the weather should be great. But yeah, he'll be back next week for sure. Oh, Awful Lot. I got what you're saying. well, you do your job on the 14th of Feb, and a month later, maybe it's returned. I don't know. All right, now we are going to get to the stats of the day, brought to you by All Star Construction. Founded in 2009, they continue to grow and are hiring general laborers, hydrovac operator, backhoe operator, gas piping technician, and more. Go to Indeed.com and search All Star Construction. And I like to do this, just scroll through, see what things that happened on this day, and kind of roll from it there. And on this day in 1960, the AFL began placing players' names on the back of their jersey, which seems like kind of an obvious thing, but in sport, it wasn't always that way. It was kind of the Raiders and the Chargers of the AFL who started it. And then from there on, other teams kind of latched on and got involved with it. Eventually, it kind of became the norm, as you would think we've seen around. But even to this day, it doesn't happen everywhere. The NHL actually was one of the first leagues to get in on this, going back to like 1925, when teams started putting the last name on jerseys on the back so you could, be familiar. Major League Baseball eventually made it mandatory, with the exception of a couple teams. So it was the New York Americans. They were the first franchise to do it, although they didn't really continue it for a long time. Then in the 70s, the Rangers started going with it. Teams followed. It was made mandatory in the NHL to have the last name on the back of a jersey in the 77-78 season. Here's something interesting. In that season, referees also had their names and numbers on the back. Referees and linemen. That lasted under 20 years. Do you know why? Because they had intense public criticism directed at individual officials. So in the 94-95 season in the NHL, referees were allowed to take their names off their jerseys. It makes sense. But going back, to other leagues, it was in 1960, the Chicago White Sox started placing their names on their road jerseys under owner Bill Veeck to help television viewers identify the players. It sparked, with the exception of the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox. The league in the National League actually did make it mandatory for this. Of course, they were not in the National League, so the Yankees still don't do it. The Red Sox do it on the road, but not at home. San Francisco Giants from 2020 to 2021, 2000 to 2021, about there, never put their last name on their road or home jerseys. So it's kind of a cool look for certain teams. Of course, we know in college football, USC, Penn State, they typically don't throw the last names on their jerseys. Notre Dame, I don't even know if they do it until they make it to a playoff game. Really neat. In the NBA, it was the 60s when they started to do it, but it was the 1970s when it became standard. So there you go. A little information on when individual leagues started to put their last names on the name bar. Some stats from more modern times. And check the Optus stats. This is one that young Josh Fenwick passed along my way, because they do have some really cool information. Obviously, right now, a lot of Major League Baseballs. So get this. The Royals are the first American League team since the 1989 White Sox to win 8 straight games after entering the streak at least 24 games below 500. DR mentioned how they're doing. They're still 8 games back of the Blue Jays in the wild card spot, but an 8-game winning streak certainly doesn't hurt. The only team to extend the streak to 9 games was the 1910 White Sox. They had a 9-game run after entering at 51-80 to improve their record up to 60-80. So the Royals trying to join that club. Also, how about this one? Johan Ramirez last night is the only save to include 3 strikeouts with a tying run in scoring position in the 12th inning or later. Obviously, the rules in extra innings make that a little bit more possible because you have the runner on second. But 3 straight strikeouts in the 12th inning or later, he did that. Since 1969, when saves becomes statistic, there's been over 60,000 saves. And this is the first time that happens. All you have to do is throw in enough situations, and you can find some unique stats. Cal Raleigh sitting 159 before entering last night's game. That was the lowest batting average entering a 3-home-run game in Major League Baseball history, which Cal Raleigh did last night, which was good for Brandon and I's football or fantasy baseball team. Other than that, though, his season has not been very good. So there you go. Stats of the day. Deck, do you like at the college football level the teams that kind of go with that throwback look, the traditional look, without having the name bars on the jersey?
I love it.
Yeah,
I think it's
the one.
this day and age where we're getting NFL rejects and 34-year-olds playing college football, that is the sense of traditionalism that made me love the sports. So yes, I do like it.
Stop me if you're going to go there in the roundtable, but that is so ridiculous that you can not, like, you go to the NFL, and the CFL has done this, but you get to the NFL and you're like, you know what? I can't hang here. I'm going back to college. Like, once you leave, you should lose your eligibility.
100%. Dude, I think, and I actually am not as hard on extending eligibility as some other people, but I think, like, once you hit, it either needs to be X amount of years, and there has to be, like, a redshirt year in there, or once you hit the age of, like, 24, it's just you got to call it.
That's crazy.
There are jobs out there. We need, you know what we need? We need more counts. We don't need more LSU Tigers.
Get into the workforce. Join us in the workforce. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm going to go out there trying to get the money, and I'm not good enough. You know, I'm going to go back to college. I wonder if, like, if there's, like, legally ramifications with that. But I had heard in one of our updates that the Big Ten is trying to get rid of that.
Not doing it. There's, I know, and you know what's funny? Actually, the SEC came out the other day and said, like, we're totally against this. Then stop it. It's your conference. Stop it then. Like, the power exists with you guys. So,
who was the LSU player that is returning?
Yeah, it's there's so I can't remember his name. Yeah, give me a second.
Daquan Wright.
Daquan Wright, thank you.
No, he was at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Was critical of Lane Kiffin for pulling what he did, and now he's going to join him in LSU.
It's because LSU is the one school that's actively recruiting these quote former pros. And I actually think it's a bigger deal in college basketball, because in college basketball there's way more schools and there are obviously less NBA roster spots, so you see it with more frequency there. But, like, the big thing is, like, LSU is the one who's, like, actively recruiting these guys. And Lane, there was a great joke tweet about it. It was Lane Kiffin saying, well, you know, we got to recruit these guys or else someone else will. Dash, the only guy who's doing this.
Yeah.
And that is what, like, they're the only ones who are actively doing this.
I was gonna say, like, if the Big Ten can ban it, but, like, if a program like LSU jumps all over it, and your end goal is winning, it's probably gonna help you. But it just goes, like, it feels like it's going against everything we should be doing at collegiate sports.
It needs to be, like, it needs to be completely axed.
It's happening at a more frequent rate than other things that people get mad about. Maybe it'll change. St. Albert says, Connor, your opinion of the 3 Oilers goalies, who will be the starter against Vancouver for home opener? I'm going to say Tristan Jarry. I think that the goal for the Oilers with Tristan Jarry this year is to get him off on the right foot and kind of take that number 1 goalie job. Not because, you know, well, one, it'd be good for the team, but also, you know, management kind of needs this to work out. Like, last year it didn't. We've been critical of that trade almost since it happened. It felt like a parallel move, and you gave away one of your better defensemen who was having struggles, but a good, proven player in Brett Kulak. I think they need him to find his game. So give him the season opener, a chance to start things off on the right foot, and then perhaps you go a different route down the road. But, John, I would say Tristan Jarry for me. I think he's the goal to get him the most. If it falters, then I guess you got Freddie Anderson there to take a little bit more. But it's going to be a story or a season-long debate, I'm sure. And then going into the playoffs. Like, what's going to happen? We'll see. 1-833-401-1440. John said Minnesota is the most consistently overrated team in the league. Their center depth is not a contender level. They have way too many people that just breeze over that. They're a great regular season team as constructed, but they're not going to see any notable playoff success like that. I mean, I don't disagree with you. And that was kind of one of the things I said to Declan. At this top line center, I think you need that. And the Minnesota Wild currently do not have it. We talked about Dylan Larkin being someone they might take a look at. We'll have to see if the eventual GM of the Detroit Red Wings finds the move he wants to make. But yeah, and I just think in that division, like Colorado, Dallas, 2 good teams. Utah's on the rise. They're going to be pushing. But I still do think Minnesota's a fine team. Not exactly sure about once we get into the postseason, like you say, but keeping Quinn Hughes would be a big part to keep that thing rolling. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get to the round table. We'll talk some Atlanta Falcons football, 5 questions. We've got Spec, AJ Jackie, and Cam. Date's 2-minute warning. But right now, a Sports 1440 update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by HireGood. We solve real problems for businesses while creating real impact. We reduce issues on your property, keep space to save and take pressure off your team. Go to hiregood.ca. Hire good. Stable job. Create stable lives.
This is a sports 1440 update.
Toronto Blue Jays placing Shane Bieber on the 15-day IL recall. Lady had Dallas also on Andreas Jimenez with a hamstring injury set for return to the Blue Jays line against the Royals. And in the NHL world, Minnesota while in negotiations with defenseman Quinn Hughes, a trade talks taking place in the Capitals, and goalie Cal Peterson to a PTO. MLB action will be going in about 40 minutes. Red Sox and Marlins, as well as the Rays and the Tigers. Blue Jays will be in action at 5:07, playing host to the Royals. Max Scherzer on the bump for that one. And in the Little League World Series, a couple finals from earlier today was Alabama over Washington 5-2, and Japan over Mexico 3-1. Currently, Vancouver, Canada leading Korea 4-0 in the top of the second. They'll have Ohio and New Jersey at 5. 3 games in the WNBA this time. The Sun at 5, Fire and Wings at 6 in the late game in the league. We'll see the Mystics and the Mercury at 8. I'm Declan Kruger. This is the Sports 1440 update.
1440, Smart Radio Station. CHAR podcast from West Edmonton Mall.
Download free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos. For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think expressions and images. Your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
With the Gene Simmons Band. Monday, November 30th at Silent Night Center in Nisku. The Gene Simmons Band, performing your favorite classic hits. Monday, November 30th at Silent Night Center in Nisku. Tickets on sale now at silentnightcenter.com. The Gene Simmons Band. Founded by a former pro motorsports competitor, Evolve Wheels and Tires brings decades of experience in custom wheels, lowering kits, mid kits, and accessories. Visit Evolve Wheels and Tires in West Edmonton. Edmonton's premium wheel specialists. Evolve your ride. Evolve your experience.
You've got to go to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk, family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk, elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Well, get ready for silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated up to the ice. WEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers. Edmonton is ready for the Power Play 24/7, 365. Well, skate store the puck will be in 5 years now. That's forward thinking. Killer selection, slamming products, and the best brands and legendary service. Don't sit on the bed. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project. Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best. The one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Everything is going to be okay. If you're feeling the weight of too much debt, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Favor. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or a consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Favor focus session at fader.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal will eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Favor, we've got your back.
Ford employee pricing is back at Nisku Ford. Pay the same as Ford Motor Company employees, plus get the benefits of being a Nisku Ford customer. You'll have the best selection of new Ford vehicles from our great lineup of SUVs, Bronco Sports, and Explorers, right up to the Ford Expedition and Ford trucks from the Ford Maverick, Ranger, F-150, and Super Duty. Ford employee pricing is the biggest event on the Nisku Ford calendar. But hurry, it won't last forever, and inventory is limited. Take advantage of employee pricing today at Nisku Ford. Above expectations.
They say if you look good, you play good. So why not upgrade your golf work
At the Leduc Golf Club Pro Shop sale. They're slashing prices on all your favorite in-stock gear. Grab a new pair of shoes, a new glove, or pick up a fresh polo and accessories for up to 20% off. Don't wait. And when the inventory is gone, it's gone. Gear up for less at the Leduc Golf Club Pro Shop.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Papa John's is making Tuesdays better. Get 40% off pizzas. The regular menu price and a promo code 40Tuesday at the start of each pizza order at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight, the Lotto Max estimated $10 million. Tomorrow, $649, $18 million gold jackpot, gold ball jackpot. And you can also check out these sports specials. Here's the Gregor Show, boosted as per usual. Jay's money line with the 2 hits from Vlad. It could happen. Some late night games. We got some WNBA parlays cooking. You can go check it out. Remember to use your game sense. Right now, though, it's time for another edition of the Round Table. Brought to you by Go Auto. Go Auto's donated more than $27.2 million to local charities and takes pride in supporting the communities where they live and do business. GoAuto.ca. I think you get to lead it off again, Mackenzie. Or
I think I'm going to start this one off. Only because, respectfully, I don't think mine is going to spark a great deal of conversation. I don't know if it's necessarily an area of interest for you two, so I'm going to be a little bit quick with it. Not sure how much you guys are following the Premier League. Chelsea had their match day yesterday. We'll be phone 3-2. Not a big deal. Our forwards, by the way, of João Pedro, Morgan Rogers, and Cole Palmer, named JP Morgan. Doesn't get better than that. But Cole Palmer had a 9.1 match rating. He had a goal and an assist in this one. Even if he didn't have a goal and assist, he would have been the best player out there on the pitch. And my roundtable piece that I bring today is, I don't know how, if you're Thomas Tuchel and the English national team, you take Nani Madueke over Cole Palmer for the national team to the World Cup. Like, I get that Bukayo Saka is going to play over both of them, but guess what? Bukayo Saka was injured, and we knew that going in. And Nani Madueke saw a lot of time on that pitch. And the fact that he was there over a guy like Cole Palmer, I actually texted my friend who knows way more about soccer than I do, and I texted him, Nani made it? Like, Nani made the team? He texted me back, he was like, buddy, he will not see 1 second of that pitch. Evidently he did, because Bukayo Saka was injured. And I just don't know how, if you're the English national team or Tommy Tuchel, you can take that guy, who used to play at Chelsea, and I actually like quite a fair bit. I don't know how you can take him over Cole Palmer. And he's back, by the way. 23-24, Cole Palmer is back.
Well, I mean, I think there's your key, 23-24. How much time did he miss with the groin injury?
He was fit when the selection squad came around.
We know they want to have some players who are in top form when they get into that event.
He was well injured too.
His drop in form from his previous breakout years, Deck. And can you tell you something? No swag until he gets the haircut. We gotta consider not bringing him back. That haircut is a tough look. No, I know I saw when he didn't make the squad. I mean, he wasn't too upset about it. Kind of did the positive spin, recoup, spend time with the family, get time off. But you know, that was a name that was brought up when it happened. So, I mean, I won't disagree with you too much. I thought England had a pretty nice run, but that might have been the reasoning for it, I guess.
This was scored in the Euro final. Scored the equalizer. Well, but whatever. They lost, and they have to live with that.
Now he's healthy, ready to go with the for your boys. Plus, he's only 24, so hey, 28 next time the World Cup rolls around, he'll be in his prime. He and Jude can light it up. So, going home.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? I had a train of thought and then just lost it. So I can't remember. I'm sorry. That's really bad.
I've been there.
You're forced to agree with Declan.
I guess so.
Yep. You probably wanted him on the squad over Anthony Gordon.
Yeah. Of course, obviously.
Hey, flash played well though. Flash played well. Got a goal in this.
Yeah, what time?
Okay, my today is that none of the NFL rivalry series jerseys are as bad as the Bills Nickel City jersey, because there is a lot of talk about the Jags and their cheetah pants, Lululemon hats, but they are not as bad as the all gray. It doesn't look like anything Buffalo Bills related.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest jersey guy in the world, so I never have the most opinionated take or opinionated position when it comes to jerseys. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, didn't see all of the rivalry jerseys, but I will agree with this take because those gray jerseys were horrible. You had to send out the king of PR in Josh Allen, who, he's my quarterback. No one's got PR like that, dude. You had to send him out there to do media runs telling everybody it wasn't that bad. That's how bad those jerseys were. So they would have had to do something pretty astronomical, I think, to be worse than those jerseys the Bills had, those gray ones. So I'm all on board with this take. But I never like jerseys unless they're so shockingly bad, like those Buffalo Bills jerseys. I never really have too much of an opinion either way.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about jerseys quite a bit. I love the whole uniform game, which is interesting for a guy like I have no real fashion sense when it comes to my style, but I do have an opinion on uniform. I think you're right. The rivalry jerseys for the most part were done very well, except for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think like they tried something, and they're saying like the print actually has like counties in them. Like there's more to it than just what the eye beholds the eye or whatever. But I don't like them. I think they're ugly. The Titans are okay. The Lions essentially look like knockoff Carolina Panthers. Packers knocked it out of the park, as did the Vikings. I think the Titans did as well. And the Bears are pretty good. Colts are kind of status quo. But you guys are right. The Buffalo Bills jersey, I'm looking at it again, and it is not good. The vision was there, but the execution was not. Like they probably could have thrown on the shoulder where it's just like different colors of gray. They could have made that blue and red, I think. A little more hints of color. But for me, it's the helmet. The helmet just sets this whole thing back. It's a bad look. So, Mackenzie, I would have to agree with you.
Yeah.
For the most part here.
I will say really quickly, my favorites from the rivalry series are the Packers. I know you guys were saying that these look like college football jerseys. It looks like a 70s or like 80s kind of throwback. So I love that. So Packers, Bears, and Vikings. I think everybody kind of has that take, but I really, those three, I'm like, very well done. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what we called the pattern. We called it Norse pattern. We weren't really sure earlier today, but the Vikings kind of just on the sleeve is really cool. It's a cool touch. And then I think even having the cool face mask is a nice one. The Packers, like you said, looks fine. You say Baylor. Well, Baylor has nice uniforms, and so does Syracuse. So even if it is a little college looking, I think it's better than going for an ugly look. So, yeah, this is cool. The Chargers are going to do it next year. I'm curious what they'll do. As long as they don't go yellow, they should be okay. There is a pretty simple fix for them when they do it. But we'll see how it all plays out. The NFL rivalry series. They could do it for every season, every team. And all that would happen is people would make tons of money. MTR says none of them are as nice as the Niners last year. I put them in the same category. I really did like the Niners last year. The numbers were really cool. The red kind of pop with a black uniform. Last year the Dolphins were okay. Buffalo's all white was decent. I didn't like the Patriots. Just didn't like the Jets. Cards were very average. They looked like kind of beigey. Seahawks were cool. Kind of remind me of like an Oregon Ducks type thing. But it's a good idea. I mean, I'll say it, like the NHL announced that they're going to be doing a similar thing this year with every team. You should. It's good business to print out these jerseys, and every single year, because someone will buy them. I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at you guys. You'll also pick them up. Do you have any Bills jerseys, Tim?
No.
Do you think you'd ever get one?
Yeah, for sure. It's not like I got a lot of Demon Brother jerseys. I got a dress title jersey and Rough Rider jerseys, and that's about it.
Matt, are you a jersey person?
I have a couple Oilers jerseys. I have a couple Jays jerseys. Do you count Riverhawks jerseys? Because we have a gazillion of those. But I really would like a Kelly Green Eagles jersey.
One of my own, like Kelly Green always looks good,
So good.
but it always looks better in like the Photoshop pictures.
Yeah.
Like this, like when people are like, you need to bring these back in Photoshop. Kelly Green, I'm like, those are unbelievable. They gotta find that shade.
Have you seen, like, because obviously I'm on Eagles Twitter, and it's like the Kelly Green away jerseys. So like the number and all of like the sleeves and the collar is Kelly Green, and then the entire jersey is white.
Mm-hmm.
So nice. Everyone's like, you gotta bring these back. So I would love to see that, but I mean, like, I have my Kelly Green kicks that are pretty sick. Those will be my Victory Monday shoes.
A few times they caught my attention. Those are nice shoes. I messed up my chat here, so I have to go back to look into the conversation coming in. I know we saw one Triple C in the truck. Says he's got the Smithy and Barkley Kelly Green. The fire also throwback or Cunningham and Brown for even better. Yeah, I mean, it's a good look. I got a lot of Chargers jerseys, like, and a lot of bad ones as well. When I was a Chargers fan way back in the mid 2000s, eBay was kind of popular, so I would be getting on there. And like, I have a Luis Castillo jersey, if you remember him. First round pick was actually on the Spanish version of Madden one, so I'd like to do an NA. Another one. I was telling the young intern, he's a Steelers fan. I have a Asante Samuel jersey. Thought he's going to pan out with the Chargers a little bit more. So I hate when they change numbers. That's what grinds my gears the most. I had all these Derwin James jerseys, then you switch to number 3. MTR says, it's great, Matt. We're going to wear those shoes 8 times this year.
Ooh. MTR, come on.
Oh, gotta take those shots.
In the division this year, maybe.
Probably should.
Should, right?
Probably should. Trent was in. He did a nice drop off, as I mentioned earlier, from Wilhock. Actually, Brandon Douglas was in here as well. He's on vacation, but he dropped off some banana bread that he made before going on vacation. But Trent was in. He's got the Cowboys second at the worst. There's them above the Commanders and the Giants. Said the Eagles could be there. MCR's got the Cowboys in that spot. Turtles and Trucks says they're in the Super Bowl. So we're all over the place when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think MTR is just great baiting me right now.
Probably.
If I'm honest.
You know what I like about the Eagles too? Like, it's going to be a trend this whole year. Like, if they lose, can't win. Jalen Hurts can't do it. And then if they lose and then they win games, we'll have Triple C talking like MVP. This guy's unbelievable. And Father Varys says y'all going to be the Bears fans from next February. Make sure you get some jerseys then. Eagles are whack. From Eden, Father Varys. The Bears, they're a team to watch for me. I said they were like every single team. But Caleb Williams, another year with Ben Johnson. We would love that team. The running back situation is okay. The receivers with Doomsday and Burton. I like that. I like Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland. I like the Bears. I've got no issue with them. And I like all their uniforms too, which doesn't hurt. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to head to the dirty South, as some call it. Talk some Atlanta Falcons. Maybe even a little bit more. Maybe some Braves. Maybe even some NHL hockey to see if there's a realistic chance that they might want an NHL franchise. Once again, for the third time. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Love Pro Wrestling. It's the only place you'll find lumberjacks, short kings, mad lads, and a high-flying goose. LPW 51 hits the Rec Room South Edmonton Common Friday, August 28th. After a shocking betrayal at LPW 50, Marsh the Specialist challenges Ty Jackson for the LPW Grand Championship. Plus, Rich King and lumberjack Larry Woods settled their rivalry with a last man standing match. Whether it's a family outing, date night, or drinks with friends, check out Edmonton's wildest party at Love Pro Wrestling. TixR.com/Love Wrestling.
1 in 3 Canadians aren't getting enough sleep. Let the Brick help you sleep better for less. Save 40% on the Steely Crown Jewel Resort mattress. Get sheets starting at just $49. And buy one pillow, get the second for just $10. Plus, take up to 55 months to pay with no interest and no money down. And with next day delivery in Edmonton, you can start sleeping better right away. Some conditions apply. OAC. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Thinking about switching vehicles? Think Subaru. The Subaru Crosstrek was named the 2026 Auto Trader Best Subcompact SUV. And once you drive it, you'll understand why. With impressive fuel efficiency, legendary Subaru symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, and generous ground clearance, the Crosstrek is ready for your Monday commute and your Saturday adventure. This month, take advantage of loyalty rates as low as 0.49%. So, before you decide your next SUV, come experience the Crosstrek for yourself. Visit your local Subaru dealership today. Welcome to Uncommon.
Feeling overwhelmed by debt? Concerned about what the next few weeks or months will bring for your finances? My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. You don't have to navigate this alone. Together, we can review your options and build a personalized plan to reduce your payments and get you out of debt, so you can breathe again. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to book your free consultation and discover your debt-free future.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Floyd pricing is back at Nisku Ford. Pay the same as Ford company employees. Plus, get the benefits of being a Nisku Ford customer. You'll have the best selection of new Ford vehicles from our great lineup of SUVs, from Rover Sports and Explorers right up to the Ford Expedition and Ford trucks from the Ford Maverick Ranger F-150 and Super Duty. Ford employee pricing is the biggest event on the Nisku Ford calendar. Hurry, it won't last forever, and inventory is limited. Take advantage of employee pricing today at Nisku Ford. Love expectations. Professional golf is coming. The Blackhawk Golf Club this fall. The ATV Classic presented by Building Trades of Alberta brings the stars of PGA Tour America. It's to you. Enjoy the ATV Fan Zone presented by Michelob Ultra, where golf meets festival vibes. Upgrade to VIP. Covered terrace seating with premium food and beverage options. September 17th to 20th. Tickets start at just $25 for the first 250 buyers. Receive a PGA Tour America's memorandum gift. Get yours at atvclassic.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Jap Machinery. Rent it, run it, get it serviced. Jap Equipment Rentals has you covered from their shop to your job site. Alberta's construction pros have counted on Jap for rentals and services since 1972. JapMachinery.com.
Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley is sitting in. Nothing Cougar McKenzie McLennan with me here as we roll through this Tuesday afternoon on Sports 1440. Streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. That's Lotto Max. Estimated $10 million. You can get your ticket at PlayAlberta.ca as we go into the NFL report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. The home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace or AC. Bundle them together and save more at lakeseaheating.ca as we head down to Atlanta to take a look at the Falcons and more as Buck Lanford joins from Fox 5. Buck, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Hey, Connor, doing really well. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing really good. Appreciate you joining us on the show today. Now, we'll get to the Falcons, but I know you've been in the Atlanta area for a little while, since 1998. So I want to ask you, because we talked expansion in the NHL for a long time here, and there's always that talk, could the NHL return back to Arizona, maybe even Atlanta? Do you think there's any appetite at all for an NHL franchise in Georgia?
It's pretty interesting that you say that, because literally it was a news story today in the Atlanta area. One of the northern suburbs named Alpharetta, they had a city council meeting that ran way into the night as they were trying to rezone a property in their area, a former shopping mall, into a mixed-use development so they could build a 20,000-seat arena to try to woo an NHL franchise to Atlanta. So it's actually in the news in Atlanta today. And there's another northern suburb called up and coming, which is the next county north of Fulton County, where Alpharetta is, that has also had a proposal on the table to build an 18,000-seat arena. So whether or not either one of these arenas actually get built, as of now, there's no, as far as we know, no talk between the NHL and any of these local cities about bringing a team to Atlanta. But certainly there's an appetite for it, and if it does get built, the team, it would not be in the city like when the Thrashers and the Flames were here before. It would be in the northern suburbs, 30, 40 miles north of the city, which is really kind of the direction the city has certainly grown out of the outer burbs. So interesting. I think there is an appetite for it here. I think the problem that in the past that hockey has not succeeded here has not been a hockey fan problem. It's been more of an ownership problem. There's a lot of people who relocated to Atlanta from all over the country and all over the world, and there's a lot of hockey fans here. And I think it would do well here. The third time's the charm, perhaps. I don't know if it'll happen, but it's interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit here, a lot of NHL reporters, and we had a guy last week actually saying he thinks 4 teams could be added to the NHL franchise list here. Atlanta, there was a market there, and I think you have a really good point there about ownership, because look no further than Utah right now. A great owner there in Ryan Smith, and they're flourishing in Utah. So let's look at the Atlanta Falcons. And I love this team. I love this division, because I feel like anything could really happen. All 4 teams could go on a run. There could be an injury here or there that really impacts things. Let's look at the quarterback room first. Michael Penix Jr., their former first-round pick out of Washington. Also, Tua Tagovailoa coming over from the Miami Dolphins. So, what have you seen from the quarterback room so far in camp and preseason?
I think one of the big stories has been, obviously, with Michael Penix Jr. tearing his ACL last year. He just went back into full 11-on-11 drills yesterday. It was the first time he's done it since the injury. And the other reports from camp were that he looked pretty well considering his first time out there. He was a little disappointing, I think, to most people, what they've seen out of him so far. I think he had a chance to kind of go out and earn this job, for them to let Penix kind of heal a little more naturally and kind of ease his way back into it. But I don't know if the two have done that. So I think it's kind of a wide open competition at this point between those two guys. And if Penix is healthy, I think I would give the edge to him. The interesting story in the quarterback room, though, is this kid, Jack Strand. I don't know how much you guys have heard about him, but he played D2 football. Broke all kind of records at Minnesota State Moorhead. 6'5", 240. He can run, and he looked really, really good in the first 2 preseason game. So he kind of got a little buzz around the city. People talking about, hopefully they hold on to this guy, at least try to develop him. He looks like he does, potentially with the right coaching and development, he could be a solid NFL quarterback. People are comparing him, his build and his speed and his game to a young Matt Ryan already. So obviously not going to get too far ahead on that, but certainly that's gotten a lot of people talking around the city about the quarterback room.
Oh, yeah. So that would be high praise for sure in Atlanta. Now looking at the receivers, Drake London gets paid. We know how good he is when he's healthy, but kind of get the vibe that he's probably going to need some help. A couple free agents were brought over to the starting lineup, and Branch was drafted in the 3rd round this year. Outside of Drake London, what do you think expectations are for the receivers?
Well, I think they're going to lean on Kyle Pitts a lot as a tight end, too, to be kind of play that tight end / receiver. And he's a great, with his size, certainly a great weapon for a quarterback to have. He's one of these quarterbacks to have to just kind of get the ball to the big guy. Branch, who played, he played out west at USC, and then he transferred to the University of Georgia for his last season. I think the Falcons felt like
they got a steal on him, and he has really been a guy that people have been talking about a lot in camp. He just looks different. He's fast. He's got a quick step that you just kind of you see him on the field. You notice him. I think he's an offensive coordinator's dream. I think you could do a lot of different things with him. He could be a trick play guy. He's obviously going to be working on special teams, I think, too. But Drake London's the man. But of course, if his health will be a huge issue, and Drake's taken a lot of big hits through the years. They brought back Lamade Zacchaeus, another guy that's been with the Falcons before. But I think they're going to lean on Drake London, and I think they're going to really lean on Kyle Pitts. He signed that big contract. I think they're going to want to make him go out there and earn it.
Yeah, I mean, teams with Kyle Pitts every single year, he has another touchdown onto his total. Really popped off last week. He actually went up against him in fantasy when he had the multi-touchdown game. Is he just kind of just building year after year, and you just seen this continual growth from him?
Yeah, I think so, because I think they drafted him so high. People had such high expectations. Everybody was talking about this guy's a unicorn. This guy's never seen anything like him. And he really his first season was good, but he kind of underperformed a little from what people were expecting. I think he's kind of taken that personally. He got the big contract. I think he's ready to go out there and show that he is the player that everybody projected him to be coming out of the University of Florida. And I mean, physically, the guy's just a beast. If you stand next to him, you're like, my goodness, that is a grown man right there. So, I mean, final quarterback that, as long as the guy can catch the ball, he had a few drops early on, but his hands seem to have gotten better. And I think they expect big things out of him this year, and I think he's expecting big things out of himself.
We're taking a look at the Atlanta Falcons here on the Jays. Gregor, Connor Halley sitting in with Buck Lanford from Fox 5 in Atlanta. And in the backfield, the Falcons have one of the best in the NFL. Bijan Robinson last year, not only running the ball for just under 1,500 yards, but caught 79 passes for 820 yards, 4 touchdowns, got some votes for the offensive player of the year. Well deserved. Probably could have been a little bit higher up in that one. Is that just kind of, status quo for him now? The expectations, which are just so high to, get close to 1,500 receiving yards, and a bunch of receptions, or do you think they maybe take a little bit off his plate this year?
I think they want to get the ball in his hands as much as they possibly can. You mentioned fantasy. This guy's a fantasy football dream. He's always going to be one of the top couple of guys selected, and when guys play fantasy football, he's such a threat. He's a great running back, but he's also great to catch the ball out of the backfield. You talk about, really, the Falcons are so loaded at all the skill positions. The big question mark's quarterback. Who's going to get the ball to all of these guys? I mean, you look at Drake London, you look at Kyle Pitts, you look at Bijan Robinson. I mean, that's a dream kind of guys to get their touches during the game. So that just puts a giant question mark on the quarterback position, I think, again.
Now, just a big factor in the quarterback position would be that offensive line. John Taylor coming over from Kansas City. I don't think the guys can snap or time of snap better. I watched him for years. He gets off the ball quick. Matthew Bergeron, Canadian there. Jake Matthews, just the ageless wonder, continuing to play. How do you feel about the offensive line?
Well, Juwan Taylor, and historically in the NFL, you think about that left tackle being the quarterback's line side, but both these guys are left-handed. So if it's Tua or if it's Michael Penix Jr., you got 2 left-handed quarterbacks there. So that's why they had to go out and really address that right tackle position to protect his blind side. I mean, I think the offensive line's solid. I think these guys have been together for the most part for a few years. Once again, I think the biggest question mark is not O-line, it's not tight end, it's not receiver, it's quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's going to be interesting to see. That's going to be X factor, I think, for this Falcons team. Looking at the defensive side of the football, the James Pierce issue, I'm assuming we'll probably see how much time he's going to miss. But the Falcons defense, I like some of the pieces they have, especially in that secondary. They've got the Terrell brothers now as well. How are you feeling about the defense going into the season?
Well, you mentioned Pierce, and so he's suspended for 8 games, so he's going to miss basically half the season. And then you missed the other side with Jalen Walker, who tore up his knee. The kid out of Georgia, these guys had they were a great tandem last season. So there's a big question mark there at the defensive end spots. And the Falcons, one of the knocks against them historically, is they don't get to the quarterback, not enough sacks, and they kind of changed that conversation last year. So can they get pressure on the quarterback? That would be a big question. You mentioned the secondary. I think that's the strength of this defense. I mean, Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell, and you got I think the defensive coordinator Jeff Ulrich, I think is kind of a genius too, working with what he's got. So I think he's going to have these guys ready to play. I don't think there'll be a weakness on this team, but obviously you're going to miss those two young guys, and I'm sure Pierce
when he gets back, he'll be like picking up a free agent in the middle of the season when he comes back 8 games in. So, if the Falcons can try some water, I think, early on in the year, then maybe they'll get a little boost when he returns.
Buck Lamford joining us on the Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in taking a look at the Atlanta Falcons. And just a few more before we let you go here. But Raheem Morris on his way out. Then Kevin Stefanski comes over from Cleveland. I thought that was a really good hire. What sort of changes have you noticed with Stefanski leading the club?
Well, interestingly, you've seen guys playing in preseason a little bit more, which I think, some people wondered, coaches have different philosophies when it comes to preseason and whether they're going to play their starters or not. I think that, it's probably important for some guys to knock some rust off, and you've seen that out of the gate with Coach Stefanski. And I think, unfortunately for him, I think he kind of almost gets a pass this year. I think the expectations for this team are kind of low, given, where they are and what's been going on with this team. So I think that he brings in a nice culture. I think he's going to win here, but I think it's going to take him a couple of years. But I think I agree. I think it was a good hire to bring him in. And with Tommy Reese at OC and Jeff Albrecht as kept him as defensive coordinator, I think I'm cautiously optimistic. I'll say that. And I think you're right, though. He's obviously a two-time coach of the year, showing what he can do in Cleveland. And I think he'll bring a winner to Atlanta, but it might take a year to get things turned around, going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think, like you said a few times, quarterback position is going to be so important for this team. Before I let you go, can I just ask about the Atlanta Braves? 3-7 in their last 10. The Phillies 9-1 in their last 10. They're making that late push in the East. How are Braves fans feeling?
A little bit nervous. The Braves played so well early on in the season, and they just kind of hit a little skid at the wrong time, right when the Phillies have gotten hot. It's the offense. Where's this offense that they had earlier in the season? It seems to have disappeared at times. So I think that baseball is a game of streaks, but it's getting down to the nitty gritty of this part of the season. So people, I think, are a little bit concerned. I think a couple months ago they thought they would run away with this division and win it no problem. And now there's a little bit of nervousness. But when you have Ronald Acuna Jr. on your side, I think you always feel like you have a chance.
I think so too. But thanks so much for doing it today. Really appreciate it, and enjoy the start of the season. Just a couple weeks away.
Good talking to you, Connor.
There you go. Buck Lamford from Fox 5 in Atlanta. Really good look at the Falcons, and a cool little update there on the potential hockey scene. 2 areas looking to get a new rink, 20,000-ish. Hey, and he's right. With the proper ownership, I think it could work. We've seen that before. Atlanta, good sports town. That would be interesting. Text line is 1-833-401-1440. Manny said, you can never go wrong with the Chargers powder blue. Just on the topic of uniforms, yeah. The Chargers in the AFL, I want to say it was like the 50th or 75th anniversary, wore a white, like all white with the powder blue. It was a really clean look. If they don't overcomplicate it, just take that route and it'll look pretty good. But that'll be next year. MTR says, to Eagles fans' credit, at least your billionaire owner isn't soliciting sex in Ohio trailer parks for $160. Wasn't it 140? I don't know what the exact dollar amount. That's such a bad story, man. That's not a good look for the NFL. I wonder what, can you get banned from games for a while? Could they do that? Players have that consequence, Commissioner's exempt list, owner. He's got a lot of things going on right now. Not good for them. Oddball. Vegas should replace the helmet on the Raiders logo and replace it with Mark Davis's hair. It's an iconic look, isn't it? Tough to pull off. We'll take a break. When we come back, more text, 1-833-401-1440. We'll get to 5 questions. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Yeah, it's me again. And if you're sidelined with a sports injury, you already know nothing's more frustrating than being told to just rest. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we get athletes moving sooner with our zero-gravity treadmills. You can run, train, and rebuild strength with up to 80% less body weight, so your injury heals while your confidence comes roaring back. When your sports injury's yelling, whisper back. LeadingEdgePhysio.com, because life shouldn't hurt.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Crispy caramelized edges, a pillowy, airy center. Meet the new Papa John's Pan Pizza. Made with Parmesan and Romano cheeses, Papa John's special garlic sauce, and Italian seasoning, all baked directly into the bottom of the crust for a signature golden finish and crispy, savory crunch. Grab a medium pan pizza for just $16.99 today at your local Papa John's. Order now in the app or at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Thinking about switching vehicles? Think Subaru. The Subaru Crosstrek was named the 2026 Auto Trader Best Subcompact SUV. And once you drive it, you'll understand why. With impressive fuel efficiency, legendary Subaru symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, and generous ground clearance, the Crosstrek is ready for your Monday commute and your Saturday adventure. This month, take advantage of loyalty rates as low as 0.49%. So, before you decide your next SUV, come experience the Crosstrek for yourself. Visit your local Subaru dealership today. Welcome to Uncommon.
Feeling overwhelmed by debt? Concerned about what the next few weeks or months will bring for your finances? My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. You don't have to navigate this alone. Together, we can review your options and build a personalized plan to reduce your payments and get you out of debt, so you can breathe again. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to book your free consultation and discover your debt-free future.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Hockeyology, Edmonton's home for elite hockey development. Skating analysis, performance assessments, and year-round training at West Edmonton. Elite hockey development at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.442. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Alberta.ca. Tomorrow is the Lotto 649 Gold Ball jackpot. 18 million. And tonight, the Lotto Max estimated $10 million jackpot. Or check out the sports section of the Jason Gregor Show specials. Boosted, of course. Go check those out. Remember to use your game sense. Connor Halley, Bethany Kruger, and Mackenzie McLennan with you here. Text line 1-833-401-1440. If you want to get in on the chat right now, it is time for 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. The sleep sale is on now. You can save 40% on the Sealy Crown Jewel Resort mattress and get cheap starting just $49. Also, buy one pillow, get the second for just $10. Only The Brick and TheBrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
Okay. Question number 1. Keep it simple. The Toronto Blue Jays make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, they just will this one into existence, hopefully. I think that this is a team that obviously went to Game 7 of the World Series last year. I think that that kind of veteran leadership pays off, and we'll see it down the stretch here. Games that they should win, I think they will. I think they'll find a way to get the job done. It won't be easy because they're also kind of hoping on the downfall of some other teams in this situation, but they've got best. They've been through this before. They handled their business quite admirably against some of these other good teams that they played as of late. You can take care of business against the Rays, you should be able to do it against the Orioles. So keep it rolling here. I'll say they find a way to get in, but it's tough. Just that one spot left. What do you think, Tech?
No. I don't think they do it. What is it, like it's 18 and 12? Or 17 and 13 over the next 30?
Yeah, maybe.
Bieber down the 15-day
Just why not just win 20, you know?
Like the 04, 03 A's?
Why not? Just do it.
It's always in the cards. It's always possible. But I'll say no. I'll stick with that one. Question number 2. I didn't word this one exactly the way I wanted to, but which player that maybe we're thinking is like projected to be a 7th, 8th, 9th rounder is going to shine in fantasy football this year?
Because you said no one's talking about it
Right.
initially. And I was like, well, we're talking about everyone. I don't know if Parker Washington flies that far. People kind of feel like his stock is rising. I think BDJ had an injury today as well, so that probably doesn't help it. The one name that I'm throwing out there, and we're talking for fantasy purposes, I'm going to say Kyler Murray. I feel like we're just going to, hey, are the Vikings going to win games? I don't know. But I think Kyler Murray with this receiver, he's not afraid to push the ball down field. The guy's mobile. He can run if needed. And there's a chance they're trailing in games, so maybe he has to throw the football, which is an encouraging thing for fantasy football. The first couple years Jalen Hurts was in the NFL, that was a fantasy football machine. And he wasn't winning Super Bowls or anything, but he was incredible at fantasy football. So I'm going to throw Kyler Murray in that category. If I can get him as my backup, I'm going to be pretty happy with it. You?
I had a name in mind that I wanted to bounce off you. See where you come out on it. Jaden Reed.
I don't hate it.
You could like it more.
I could like it more. The one, so
this thing, like
the Packers have moved on from a few guys, right?
Yeah.
Matthew Golden might be wide receiver 1. Christian
Well,
Watson.
That's what I was going to ask you, man. Like they arguably have 3 WR1s, none of who are actual true WR1s. Because I was going to ask, like, who do you think is WR1 on that team? Because I think on any given day, it could be Reed, Watson, or Golden. Like I don't think there is a defined number 1.
If you listen to like Fantasy Frenzy the last 3 years, when we talk about the Packers, I'm like, stay away from their receivers. Because Tucker Kraft is wide receiver 1, I think. Reed Dobbs was there. He was an option. Wicks was there. He was an option. Those guys scare me, to be totally honest. But you like they could pop off 4 games, each of them. I think when he's healthy, Watson is wide receiver 1. I think they are all, in the grand scheme of things, closer to wide receiver 2s.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I don't think any of those are wide receiver 1s on any other team. Maybe I should say any other team, but you know what I'm saying. But then weirdly, also, I think the Packers are going to be like kind of good and competitive. And I don't know. I just think Jaden Reed, obviously the injury last year, but before that, he was touching some 1,000-yard seasons. I'm just saying he'd be my guy.
We actually talked fantasy football in the frenzy today, and one of the names to avoid for our guest was Josh Jacobs. So
yeah,
maybe that run game's not there. Maybe they have to throw the football. Yeah, he popped off the last couple games of the season. Jalen Reed a few years ago, right? So Jalen Reed, sorry.
I can see that one. Question number 3: which Oilers player do you think may have a down year by expectations?
When we talk expectations, everyone kind of goes to statistics. Maybe Mattias Ekholm, if he, the aging continues. I mean, one guy I'm hoping for. I'm not saying he will, because I think he could very easily pop off. But I think people's expectations are that the goals are going to go up, and if they don't, that might be considered as kind of a failure or follow. So I'll go with Silly Colson. Like, I think people want to see him. We've heard really good things. We know that necessarily scoring goals isn't his biggest attribute, but he just plays with Leon Draisaitl so well. But I think just because people have expectations, there might be a fall off from the expectations. Not necessarily the actual point production, but I don't know. I don't wish this on anyone yet, so I can't say for sure. I mean, David could statistically drop off a little bit, still be a hell of a season. So I guess that might be an easy option.
Yeah, but him statistically dropping off is going from 1,000 points to 900 140.
Yeah, I
so-
was like, I thought that's kind of the easy answer. It wouldn't get down here by any means, right? So I don't know. I'll pick the guy who people bring up the age and say what he is. You?
Yeah, I think my answer may be like I may be shortchanging myself on my own question here because I think some people rate the goalie room quite low. But I just think, there's always the possibility that, Tristan Jarry, not the best season. Freddie Anderson, obviously a little bit older, had great start to the playoffs, ended up getting pulled for Brandon Busby. And then Devin Lee, just so unknown. So I don't think expectations are sky high. I don't think people think this is going to be Wallstead and Gustafsson. But that may be the area of the team I would lean. But kind of an easy cop-out answer.
Yeah.
Question number 4. There is a video going around town of Adrian Broner just walking in the gym and like burping and looking washed as all ever. And it has got me gagging every time I've seen it. So I ask you, do you have a favorite GIF or video of an athlete that always makes you laugh?
What did he say? What, Broner? We're getting cooked or something? Didn't he have
Yeah, he did. He had a clip where he was like, I can't laugh. I'm getting cooked.
That is always one of my favorite ones. I think that's got such a good usage all over the place. Okay, so you say GIF or GIF?
GIF.
Okay, my favorite GIF is Nick Young celebrating the shot he misses.
Oh, it's great.
It's kind of a classic one. And then if I'm doing video, give me Munenori Kawasaki saying "Dead monkeys never crown." I don't know. I'll always watch that one. He's just a very funny man, and obviously doesn't sound like he's saying cramp, and it's a good bit. How about you?
I don't know, because for me, it's like generally when it's paired with caption, and is memified on Twitter. So like the one of Vince Carter crying at his retirement, his jersey retirement, with his hands in the air. Anytime that gets captioned with something, generally gets me laughing pretty well and good. I'm trying to think. I feel like there are a couple others. Like there's one of James Harden getting like blown by on defense, doesn't even move. Again, like anything that kind of ends up as a meme with a caption attached to it will have me chuckle.
The Vince one was good.
Yeah. And question number 5. Dolly Parton sadly passing away today. What is your favorite piece of work from her?
Yeah, Dolly is the GOAT. I would say I like Islands in the Stream because Kenny Rogers was in it as well, and it was written by the Bee Gees, right? So like, what a cool group of people come together, put a song together. But then also Jolene, and I know I'm taking kind of the loading for the song off the top, but there's so many covers of Jolene as well, and that's how you know it's just a hit. So those two, I guess, would stand out for me. Now, this is just coming because you said piece of work, right? Give me a second here. Was she also in Little Rascals?
The movie?
Was it her?
I'm looking through her filmography right now.
No, I don't think that was. That might have been Reba.
Yeah.
Was it Reba?
Could be. Yeah, could be.
As like the driver? Coming to me last second. I'm not exactly sure if that's right. I can be totally off on this one. But yeah, she's a legend. So a lot of good options. What do you got?
Well, for me, like when she appeared as Aunt Dolly in Hannah Montana, and the studio audience gave like a 15-minute standing ovation, I was like, wow, we must have someone real famous here, before I really knew who she was. Since then, that was always a lasting impression she had on me. Since then, and going back, I mean, Jolene, like easy answer, but I think her best song, phenomenal, transcendent hit. But still Magnolias as well. What a movie. So it would probably be that or Jolene for me.
It was Reba McEntire in Little Rascals. President Donald Trump was also in that movie. He was the father of the rich kid. Yeah, she had hits, no doubt. And like, just a good person. Had a book club for the kids as well. Gotta make sure I sign Benny up for that one. Players no one's talking about. Trey Harris for Chomskers. Good. He I think is actually gonna be taking reps away from Quentin Johnson. Like, Trey Harris last year got his went to the field blocking, and then man, his ability to track the ball over his shoulder while actually catching it and then maintaining possession, keeping his feet in bounds, incredible. He's like, what if you could just like that in camp and stuff? So Trey Harris would be a good one, but I think Lavin Conkey's gonna get fed quite a bit Njoku. The ball could be spread around. It could be like the Green Bay Packers, where one week it's this guy, the next week it's someone else. Jesse says, "Hey boys, why does everyone have Sam Darnold rank so low after 2 great years? Worth a late round flyer?" Just want to make sure I grab his statistics here. Where his stats last year weren't quite as good as they were in Minnesota, were they? Like, they weren't amazing.
No, I did like 25 touchdowns. Over 10 picks, I believe.
14, yeah. With Minnesota, he threw for 300 more yards, 10 more touchdowns, 2 less interceptions. And that's kind of why I'm like, maybe Kyler could pop off. He's got really good receivers. I don't know. Well, I think week to week, if you had Sam Darnold as your backup in certain situations, it might not be so bad. Like, heck, he got the ball to Jackson Smith-Njigba quite easily. One offensive player of the year. So I think there's worse guys you could go with, but I don't think I'd be rushing up to get him. Trav M says Nuge could potentially be a guy to drop off. Yeah, I mean, hey, if Mike Howard or whomever finds that top wing spot, then Nuge is out on the third line. He could drop off and maybe rely on the power play. This video is the one where Phil Kessel was asked about his breath. Yeah, that was Pierre McGuire. Trying to ask what his cardio. And Phil thought he meant the smell of his breath. That was a good one, actually. That was a very good one, Walt. So, Big Beanie is a good one. From Rick J. Victoria says, Bob's had a great year last year. However, he will hover on the same 19 goals each year, which won't live up to some people. He is so much more than a stat. It's kind of hard hustle, his work ethic, finishing checks. That's what I like about him. Yeah, Jay. I think that's kind of like what people see in that. It's just an honest effort, night in, night out. He's going to benefit the players around him with his play, and there's things that, won't show up on the stat sheet when you look at the 5 goals. And that's, statistically, some people might look at it at the end of this upcoming season and say, oh, he didn't really reach the potential we thought he would. But then we'll say, well, he played most of the time with Leon Draisaitl. There's a reason for that. He wanted him there. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think if he gets 20 goals, that's massive. George says Tyson's broken back interview was hilarious. Yeah, we were talking about Tyson yesterday. Final. And then when the 2 players in the Blazers did their impression, was it Lillard and CJ McCollum? Yeah. Did you hear their impression of Tyson?
No.
No, that's pretty good. Laughed about it. They probably watched that before the game, but they've also did their own little rendition of that one. We'll take a break here. When we come back, more text, 1-833-401-1440. The show, of course, always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight, the Lotto Max estimated $10 million, and then tomorrow, you got the Gold Ball Jackpot, Lotto 649, $18 million. And if you head over to the sports section, click the Jason Gregor Show specials, boosted odds. Go check out those ones as well. We got 3 parlays for tonight, and then 1 long-term one involving the Oilers. Right now, though, with the Sports 1440 update with Stephen Kruger, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet BFGMC. For the remainder of August, proceeds from every vehicle sold will go towards the Summerland wildfire victims. Get a great vehicle and support a great cause. Only at northgategm.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Scores from around the majors right now. The Red Sox lead in the Marlins, 1-0 in the top of the second. Rays tied at the same mark, and in the bottom first in the Rockies and second, currently 0-0. Astros and Yankees will be up next, but in this time, in about 10 minutes, we have the Royals and the Blue Jays at 5:07 with Matt Scherzer on them. Now, the Blue Jays have played right-handed pitcher Shane Bieber on the 15th day IL, and recalled righty Chad Dallas. They also Andre Jimenez with a hamstring injury set to return the lineup against the Royals. Little League World Series right now, Canada leading South Korea 5-1 in the bottom of the fourth, 2 finals today, subject Canada over Mexico. Alabama over Washington, New Jersey, and Ohio will go at 5. In the WNBA at 5 o'clock. In just a couple minutes, we got the Sky and the Sun at 6, the Fire and the Wings. And at 8 o'clock, the Mystics and the Mercury. I'm Devin Kruger. This is Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440. In West Edmonton Mall, and that's what CKJR is. Radio station.
Download free radio player app and listen where for you.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer. Big guests, bigger takes. Jason Gregor brings the names you know and the stories. Films weekdays 2 to 6 on Sports 1440. Don't miss a minute of the action on Edmonton sports leaders. Sports 1440. Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home, so you better call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. It's about a heat pump to help you heat and cool. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. Cool AC. Or cool with the heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
They're going all out to earn your business at Wolf GMC Buick. Right now, they're seriously overstocked on over 400 pieces of inventory on clearance and ready to move. See for yourself. Click on the clearance tab at wolfgmcbuick.com. And it gets even better. Employee pricing continues with huge cash discounts, 0% purchase financing, and low lease rates on select vehicles. Once again, see their website for details. So stop in today. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
The Chicken Parmy Burger. Make extreme pulled pork, garlic, and black pepper chicken McNuggets. Cheesy bacon flavor fries, and the Stroop waffle McFlurry. You've scrolled them, you screenshot them. You've never been able to order them until now. This is a McDonald's World Menu Heist. The most wanted menu items taken from around the world, now in Canada. Get them while you can. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that make you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo or sunset down the back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
I missed one payment, then another. Now I feel behind on everything. I can't keep up.
Well, falling behind happens to more people than you think, but there is a solution. My name is Parveen Milton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. Together, we can create a plan that fits your situation and helps you get caught up and back in control. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to book your free consultation and discover your debt.
Day, which reminds me, Metal Supermarket has even created custom grill tops for rusted old barbecues. It's one of the many special requests they've received over the years. You'll be amazed what their skilled crew can do. Barbecue grills to grills for classic cars. Sky's the limit. Speaking of sky, that's a lot of smoke up there. Uh-oh, fire in the hole. Fried steak. So long, sirloin. Metal Supermarket, the local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com. Hey there, it's Brandon Douglas from Sports 1440. I was tired of slow, unreliable internet connections, so I signed up for Starlink. It's fast, reliable, even in bad weather, and has made streaming for movie nights and online gaming so much better. The summer doesn't need a break from watching sports, and I've been streaming all the games seamlessly when at the family farm, despite the remote location. If you're ready for a better internet experience, you can order online in 2 minutes at starlink.com/radio or call 1-888-GO-STARLINK.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, step pensioners, and flash maintenance equipment. Order today at CanTorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, host your game sets. Stay here within your limits, but you can check out the Lotto Max tonight. $10 million up for grabs tomorrow. The Lotto 649. 18 mil. Alberta.ca, Connor Halley. Captain Kruger, McKenzie McLennan with you here on Sports 1440, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. A lot of text showing in here. I know it was a good addition of 5 questions because our last 3 texts are all in regards to 3 different questions. Dave McClellan says Bouchard could drop off. He concentrates more on the defensive game. But Bouchard could fall off. The funniest clip, Mark says, hey boys, Fiddler making fun of the ex Vigneault, dying on the edge, laughing. Yeah, that is a classic clip, Mark. And then Creation Listener says, best song for Dolly, 9 to 5. That's a good one too. Appreciate the text. Keep them rolling here. 1-833-401-1440. Right now, we'll give the spec report. Brought to you by GS Construction. They're hiring operators, pipelayers, and a superintendent. Even works for a fantastic company that loves to promote from within with great benefits. Also, huge sports fans. Apply at gsconstruction.ca and search careers. As we are joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet Spec. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Doing awesome. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing really good. We got the Little League World Series elimination game on right now. Canada leading South Korea 5-1 in the top of the. Yeah, now Spec. I'm watching this and I'm wishing I would have played ball as a kid. It looks awesome. Did you ever play growing up?
Oh my God! I played a million baseball games in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, and not at that quite that level. I played, probably 2 Western Canadians. And I would play in it at that age group, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But one time, I do very much recall covering a Confederation team that was playing in the Canadian Championships at Gold Stick Park, and they went to the final, and they were 1 win away against a team from the East Coast. Where the heck were they from? I can't remember. It's, a maritime team.
Mm-hmm.
And the Confederation team was a win away. If they won that game, they were going to Williamsport and the Little League World Series. And my boss had already said to me, I was a very young reporter, and he said, we're going there with them. If they go, we're going. So I was like, awesome. Now I get to go cover the Little League World Series at Williamsport. And their star pitcher, get this. So they play the semifinal on, let's say it's probably a Saturday, let's say. And then he goes afterwards to the clubhouse at Gold Stick Park and eats a hot dog because he's hungry. Well, he's sick, he gets food poisoning. And the next day, he can't play. So they can't start their best pitcher in the gold medal game. Glace Bay, I believe, was the opponent, if I recall. And they lost the game. And they didn't go to Williamsport. And all the little kids were sad. And I was kind of sad because I got to know the kids over the course of the week. They're a bunch of Edmonton kids. A couple of them went off and played in the Western Hockey League. And I'm sure they're all video. Listen, they all remember it fondly because it was a magical week of Edmonton 12-year-old baseball. And they came within a sour Gold Stick hot dog of going to Williamsport, my friend.
That's crazy. We must find who made those hot dogs and make them pay for that.
Man. I don't remember all the names of the kids, but they were, how it is. When you cover something like that, you walk in the door, you don't know anybody. And by the end of it, like 9 or 10 days, you know everybody. You know the moms, you know the dads. So you're kind of, I'm trying not to cheer for the team, but you like the kids. So you hope they have success. And damn hot dog cost them a trip to Williamsport. And we all went back to work on Monday instead of getting on the plane to Pennsylvania.
I take that first bite, whatever you get in the hot dog, and make sure it's okay. If not, you don't gotta put it down. You don't need to do that. Spec, today during 5 questions, definitely a good question. In regards to the Edmonton Oilers, and I suppose it's all by individual expectations, but he said if you had to pick one, who's a player who could have a down year by your expectations?
Ooh, who'd have a down? Well, to me, the guy that's going to have a down year is a guy that was out of his mind last year and over. Is there a player on the Oilers who overachieved last year? I'm trying to think. I'm not going to say Matt Savoy because he was, found his legs in the first 40 games and had a really nice last 25. I'm not telling you that he didn't have an unbelievable 75-point year and blew it out of the water. I'm trying to think. Who had a down year? I'm not going to just voice it upon someone. I see guys like Frederick. Frederick was a 7-point player. He can't have overshield. He's getting better no matter what. Because Derek Kapanen was hurt a lot last year. I think he's poised to have a better year. So Kevin David and Hyman, those guys all have good years every year. Nuge, I don't know. Nuge is a pretty consistent guy. So, Tristan Jarry, I hope he doesn't have a worse year. I think his pride tells him he's going to have a better year this year. So, I don't think I have a guy that stands out to me where I go, oh, listen, a guy got 75 points last year and he's a 40-point player. Am I missing somebody? I don't think I see that guy.
No, because I mean, if I had to go in, like maybe I'd go Matisse Ekholm just because he's aging, but it seems unfair just to say that without really seeing him on the ice. I think some people might have higher hopes with Silly Pod Colson this year, but I'll remain saying if he finishes with 19 goals again, I'm good with that. That's fine.
I feel like Vasily Podkolzin is still at this point in his career. He's just a late bloomer. I see him just getting better and better. I don't see him falling back. I mean, listen, Bouchard had a career year at 95 points. If he gets 85 points, does he apply for this position you're talking about? I mean, yes, but I don't see Bouchard having 40 points or 50 points.
No.
I think he's a 60. I mean, 95 is a lot. I'm not asking for him to get me 90 points every year here, but I don't see it. I don't see him poised to have a terrible year. Bouchard is a great player, man. He's just getting better and better. So I'm not sure I can answer your question, my friend.
Yeah. That's fair. It's not an easy one. It's, we're kind of joke, well, okay, if David dropped down to 120, very similar to what you said would have been like, if they drop off, well, if they win more games, who cares? Right? Like, if it's because of more of an emphasis on defense, then we'll be okay with that. That's fine. So, yeah, I don't think there's necessarily one that stands out. We had a couple people text in Bouchard just because hoping that maybe clean up some more defensive areas. But, yeah, I mean, now, how would if I flipped it on you? Who would you say for maybe a breakout season? There's not too many options, I suppose.
Well, I mean, I say that a guy that is in a position that might have a good year is like Howard. We really haven't seen him. Let's see what he's got. He's had his year in the minors. I think he's ready. He showed us that I'm not telling you he mastered the AHL, but he certainly was an excellent player at that level and showed us that he can, he can certainly play at a top line role in the A, and it's time to come up and let's see what we can do here. So he's a guy. The question here is, the problem with the question is, they don't have a lot of young kids who are improving every year. That's always one. I guess we'll call Podkolzin one, right? I mean, I don't know Ryan Shea. Like, if you tell me, I don't know what to expect from him, and I'm not sure he qualifies for this question. How about Devin Levi? Well, I'll tell you right now, he's not going to get a chance to have an excellent year unless a goalie ahead of him gets hurt.
Yeah.
If someone gets hurt, he steps in and becomes Superman. How about him? But that's a lot of things that happen before he's going to get 40 starts. So they're a team full of veteran guys that I think we know what everybody does. And I think what you like about the Oilers from a positive standpoint is if all the guys on this roster do what they're supposed to do, you're going to get lots of goals, you're going to get lots of points, you're going to get lots of wins. And, that's kind of what you're trying to build, isn't it?
I would totally agree with you. I mean, as we're talking about March, I figure on Jason Gregor, so talking with the Edmonton Oilers right now, one of the guys I'm really intrigued by, and I want to see out there more to see what he can really do, is Jake Wallman. In his career, the most he's ever played is 65 games, and that was the season split between Edmonton and San Jose. He got paid like a very, very nice contract for himself. I really want to see what he can do maybe on that second pairing with Connor Murphy.
Yeah, that's going to be a killer important pairing. Because you got to take, let's start with that. You have to take a few minutes away from Ekholm this year, and Wallman's going to get them, right? Wallman's getting those minutes that Ekholm used to take. It's time to start. Ekholm's getting older, and you can't run him out there. The same minutes that Bouchard plays, it's just not fair to the guy. So yes, Wallman's the guy. He's in his prime. He's got a big contract. It's time for Wallman to take a step here. It's time for Wallman to take a step. Like this I can't play for 25 games every year stuff. That's the time for you to get past that. Right? It's time to become a player you can count on for 77 games, not 60 games. Right? It's time to be a guy you can count on for 22 minutes a night, not 18. So they will lean on him, and part of the Oilers' success this year will revolve around Jake Wallman's ability to be the guy we're just talking about here. He needs to take a step. He needs to be very a consistent and an injury-free guy because they need him here, and they're counting on him here, and they're paying him here. And he's got to deliver.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with you. And, you got that contract, 7 years. That's going to run through 2033. So he's going to be here for a long time. I'm sorry, $7 million AAV. Just sticking with the back. And when you look at, the guys probably aren't penciled in as everyday players. Maybe it's going to be a Regula or a Ty Emberson. Do you think either of those guys can push into the lineup? Or do you think it's set?
Well, I don't know. Like, Emerson's got a spot on his team pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's earned his way. But now, listen, it's a good team when guys who played every day last year now have to earn their job. That's what we want here, right? So, good. If Emerson's got to beat somebody out now where he didn't last year, that means he got better. So that's fine. It's up to everybody to meet that challenge and stake your claim on this team. And the seventh defenseman who doesn't play on opening night, he should be pissed off, and he should be ready to say, hey, I want my job back, man. I want a job on this team. I want a top six job. So that's how it's supposed to go. That means you got a better team, does it not?
100%, yeah. If the guy who was playing regular minutes the season before, battling for a spot, battling for a rep, I think I would totally agree with you, and that's what Edmonton Oilers did this offseason. At least looking at the daily face-off lines for the time being. Spec, we were talking a little bit today on the show about Quinn Hughes out in Minnesota. Just, rumors popping up about a potential trade. That was squashed by Michael Russo of The Athletic. But the fact still remains, this is a very important season for the Minnesota Wild. Not only because they are in that window to win, but you've also got to figure out what happens with Quinn Hughes as he approaches unrestricted free agency. I've said it a few times on the show, if I'm Hughes, I'm not signing. I'm waiting to see what's out there in free agency, and, obviously, be respectful to the Minnesota Wild, saying, hey, I'll give you an answer at this point. But what do you think happens with Hughes and the Wild and, potentially entering free agency next year?
Well, listen, Quinn Hughes and all these American guys who, watching all these American guys decide where they want to play. The Kachuk brothers, now Quinn Hughes, I don't want to be in Vancouver. I guess I'm going to say to you, figure out where you want to play and shut your mouth. Don't tell me I'm in Minnesota, but I kind of don't really want to be there. I want that kind of team. This is hockey. It's not the NFL, right? This is a team sport, and it's important to be a team player. We're not the National Football League where guys come and go against the town, against the team, whatever. Like, I don't. You know what? I'm not interested in that player who's halfway in. Our playoffs in hockey are the hardest playoffs in any professional sport. And when you're telling me I got a guy that's kind of halfway in, halfway out, as good as Quinn Hughes is, and we all know he's a hell of a player. He's a killer good defenseman. Everybody wants him. But either you're in or you're out. And if I'm Billy Guerin, and I want the player every day, but I don't want half the player. I don't want a guy who's telling me I'm sort of in, I'm sort of out, I'm kind of here, I'm kind of not. Like, figure it out, Quinn. Pick a team and shut up, and let's go. Like, pick a team. And let's play hockey. Give me everything you got for whatever team you pick in the end. I'm not big on this. Well, I'm here, but I want to be there thing. As you can tell, it doesn't move forward.
So if you are Bill Guerin, you get to the trade deadline or approaching it, you haven't got any sort of read on what's going to happen. Are you looking to ship him out?
Last question, because I'm going to tee off on this hole, because I love playing this hole. I'm going to say to you this. I know Billy Guerin. I've known him for 25 years. And there will be no ambiguity with Billy Guerin. Right? Billy Guerin will sit down with Quinn Hughes and say, what's up, son? What are you doing here? Right? I'm not guessing. And if Quinn Hughes isn't going to be around, Bill Guerin will get value for Quinn Hughes. And it will be huge value, because he's a really good player. But Bill Guerin won't be guessing. I'll tell you that right now. Billy won't be guessing. He will know exactly what's going on, and he will force Quinn Hughes to make a decision. And that's all I'm asking for from any of these guys. If it's Chuck's, Quinn Hughes, any of these guys, just make a decision. Tell me what it is, and let's go forward.
Which hole are you on?
I'm on. We're on 15. We're on 16. There's a big bush right in the middle of the fairway. They call it the Barb's Bush, and it's one of my favorite golf holes here.
Okay, well, good luck. We'll reconvene tomorrow around this time and see how you did.
All right, thanks, man.
Thanks, Michael. Mark Spector, Rogers. Sportsnet joins us every day here on the Jason Gregor Show around this time. I had so many more hard-hitting questions to get to. Oh well, tomorrow. Jason's How knows way better than plus 20? Well, if you go back to last season, only two players. Matthias Ekholm was plus 32. Evan Bouchard was plus 25. Connor McDavid, 17. Puck 16. Puck goals, 16. Hyman and Dressel, 13. The worst plus minus on the roster. Andrew Mangiapane, minus 9. Didn't even have a chance. We're hoping there's maybe that renewed emphasis on defense. Harry says hockey is headed to NFL-style players. Yeah, I mean, geez, I think a lot of these guys are starting to realize, especially with these no-trade deals, like they hold the power. When GMs give those out, you gave the power to the players. You can't move me, and if you do, I'll have to approve it. So I'll tell you where I want to go. I don't blame the players at all for taking advantage of that. If the NHL is going to hand out those contracts and GMs are going to do it, no problem at all. Otwell Okotoks Oilers says best little league diamond in Edmonton was the Otwell Diamond on 50th Street, close to the Skyview Drive-In. That was back in the 70s. I figured with the drive-in. That sounds like the good old days. Sounds quite nice. The girl pitcher in the Little League World Series is awesome. Yeah, we saw her yesterday. Jordan says Wallman needs a breakout. Yeah, I want to see him on the ice. Like, let's see him 75 plus games. You've seen it in flashes, right? We've seen what he can be and what he can do. Just a little more consistency. And then all of a sudden, I think you're laughing. I think you love that second pairing. Just got to see it consistently. Kyle says, I worry about a Hyman drop-off. Not a big one, but a little one. Yeah, well, 31 goals he had last year in 50-some-odd games. That was incredible production. Still would have had him on my Olympic team to bring that up again. Now, we'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll head out to Ottawa. We'll talk about the Red Blacks and their situation. It's not great. Maybe a little bit about the Sens and their potential new captain and more. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch, brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. And don't forget about our employee pricing. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country. Crispy caramelized edges, a pillowy, airy center. Meet the new Papa John's Pan Pizza. Made with Parmesan and Romano cheeses, Papa John's special garlic sauce, and Italian seasoning, all baked directly into the bottom of the crust for a signature golden finish and crispy, savory crunch. Grab a medium pan pizza for just $16.99 today at your local Papa John's. Order now in the app or at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Edmonton's only 24-hour-a-day sports radio station can be heard anytime, anywhere. Sports 1440 is streaming on your phone, your tablet, your computer. Download an app today and listen to Sports 1440.
At GS Construction, we won't quit until we find a way to get the job done. And the right person makes all the difference. We're looking for our next superintendent, an experienced leader ready to take on the role. Because while GS Construction is building the water, sewage, and drainage systems Edmonton communities rely on, the superintendent is building up the team. If you know how to keep a job site safe, productive, and moving, we want to hear from you. Visit GSconstruction.ca/careers today.
1 in 3 Canadians aren't getting enough sleep. Let the brick help you sleep better for less. Save 40% on the Stanley Crown Jewel Resort mattress. Get cheap starting at just $49. And buy one pillow, get the second one for just $10. Plus, take up to 55 months to pay with no interest and no money down. And with next day delivery in Edmonton, you can start sleeping better right away. Some conditions apply. OHC. CanTorque for details. The Brick, saving you more.
This summer, cheer on your favorite teams at Sunday Sports Bar Lounge. Never a bad seat in the house with tons of big screens. Plus, Ellie's Big League menu has it all. Small bites and big bites, in-date food and drink features, something for everyone. From the gridiron to the diamond, six is the place to catch all the action all summer long. Sally's Sports Bar and Lounge. At all 3 Simpson Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Alberta, 3 Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino. Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Mission Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Alberta cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team, and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit share to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Plus, for a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$525. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight's lotto match next to $10 million. Go get your ticket at PlayAlberta.ca. And if you're feeling a little feisty here, sports parlay, you can do that as well. We got the Jason Gregor Show specials boosted as usual. Remember to use your game sense. Right now, we're going to go in the room by Active Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in project, service, ag, and solar. For commercial or residential, contact them today at actionelectrical.net. As we go out to Ottawa, joined by AJ Jakovic, the voice of the Red Blacks on TSN 1200. AJ, good evening. How are you doing today?
Excellent, Connor. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing really good. I appreciate you making some time to join us today. Before we get to the Red Blacks, I just want to ask you about your experience with the Canadian soccer team at the World Cup. I know you're following along very closely. How great was that experience?
Yeah, really good experience. Unfortunately, they had to leave and play the only games outside of the host country that ever played at a World Cup. But yeah, amazing atmosphere at the games in Toronto and Vancouver. And Vancouver in particular, I think really stepped up as a host, and just with the marches to the stadium and everything. But still pretty good support south of the border as well. I didn't get to the South African game because I was calling Red Black that day in Montreal, but did get to Houston for the game against Morocco, and the march was still pretty good there and great support. So yeah, exciting times for Canadian soccer. That feels like it's probably a one-off, although who knows, maybe there's another possibility at another co-hosted World Cup, depending on how things go. Especially if you got 64 countries, they're going to want to go back to the U.S. because they just have the infrastructure and the stadiums and cities for it. So can Canada and Mexico co-host again? Would love to see it, but yeah, it was fantastic and great for the sport. Hopefully we see some positive momentum for the sport in this country over the next decade or so.
100%. Yeah, it looked incredible. Some of the stadiums that were down in the south and Mexico looked fantastic, not so shabby up here as well. So let's turn our attention to the Ottawa Red Blacks, and we know on the field it hasn't gone right. And unfortunately, Edmonton Oilers fans can relate because they've gone through that for the better part of the last 7 years here. But it's kind of trickled into the front office and coaching staff right now. Jim Pop gets the call to come in. Before we get to Pop, what he'll be doing day to day, what has been the biggest area of concern for the Ottawa Red Blacks from your perspective?
Yeah, just before I answer the question, and I do sympathize because it's been some lean years here in Edmonton. I grew up going to games in the 80s and 90s at Commonwealth Stadium at a time where the Eskimos at that point were as big as the Oilers. You go to games and it was 50,000 people on a regular basis from the Warren Moon era to Matt Dunnigan, Tracy Ham, Damon Allen, all those great players into the 90s as well. So it was sad to kind of see how the franchise has fallen and calling games there with so many empty seats, but it is great to see them doing well, and hopefully they have something that they can sustain on and off the field, for the next for the long haul there, because Edmonton to me is still a sports town, not just a hockey town, not just an Oilers town. That's the Edmonton that I grew up in. Hopefully that continues. So, but to put it in perspective, is Edmonton been since the 2018 Grey Cup, they've won 41 games, and that's not nearly enough. Ottawa's 127. So like this is like absolute record-setting, just ineptitude. I guess is basically the way you can call it. Record-setting ineptitude. When you talk about 27 wins, and we're almost a decade later. They're the ninth team in CFL history to start season 0-10. I know the Elks were the last team to start 0-9, but that was the year that Trey Ford kind of saved the day. They won 4 games down the stretch to at least make it somewhat respectable down the stretch. I don't really envision 4 wins here. I don't see a Trey Ford here. Bryson Barnes is a young quarterback that I think has some promise, but you throw him into the fire because it feels like they just don't have enough strength on this roster. I think the receivers are pretty good. They could use kind of a bigger one-on-one type guy that can go up and get balls, but that's one area you say, okay, well, it's probably at the very least at the league average. And I don't really know if there's any other position groups you can say that about. So there's a lot to work on here. There's a lot that they need to do. I'm hopeful it's a balance because you want to see them have a look at some guys over the course of the last 8 games, including Bryson Barnes at quarterback. But at the same time, I think you really don't want to go 0-18. You don't want to be the first team in professional football history to go 0-18. And obviously, we know about the Lions and Browns that won 16, and in the CFL, Hamilton won 17. There's some teams like the Hamilton Wildcats that went 0-12 back in the 40s. Ottawa went 0-6 4 years in a row in the 20s and 30s. So there's a lot of ineptitude that we've seen, but you don't want to be that punchline that everyone in North America is talking about in October when you turn on an NFL game and it's Sunday Night Football and they're talking about a team that might be going 1-18 in the CFL because it's never happened in pro football anywhere. So yeah, there's not a good situation. Obviously they've made some big changes in recent weeks. They have a president to hire. Between now and the offseason, they brought in Jim Pop on a short-term basis. Is he a long-term answer? We'll wait and see. He's certainly a great track record, for most of his time in the CFL. Although didn't end well in Toronto for him. Albeit he was there 3 years, and even though the last 2 were real bad, they won the Grey Cup in 2017 with him. So he at least knows how to build a winning football team and a winning football culture, and just to have somebody that pedigree that also has a relationship with Ryan Dinwiddie, who I don't think became a dumb coach overnight. But he won 2 Grey Cups in the last 4 years and hasn't won a game here yet. But I still think they've got a good football coach there. So how do you surround him with better talent to make this work? And we'll see how they're able to do it, both finishing the year this year, but most importantly, just getting this back on track. Like Ed Hervey did with the Elks there in Edmonton.
AJ Jackie back joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, so the NHLer, of course, with TSN 1200 in Ottawa, the voice of the Red Black. So with the hiring of Jim Pop, kind of takes me back to when Rick Lauser came back as president. He kind of held that spot until they hired Chris Morris. What do you think is, on the day-to-day schedule for him? He's won championships. Obviously, was a part of the Baltimore Stallions, the Alouettes, the Argos as well. Like you said, didn't end well. But won a Grey Cup there in 2017. Day-to-day, what do you think he does to try to get everything back in order here?
Well, I don't think... like he's a senior advisor, so I think most importantly, that's what he's going to be doing. He's going to be helping out Mark Gowdy with the process of hiring a new president. He's going to be helping Ryan Dinwiddie just in terms of week to week with the roster. You're not going to be able to reinvent the wheel here over the course of the next few weeks, but just making sure that Ryan Dinwiddie, like Sean Burke, handled a lot of the logistics in terms of dealing with contracts and cap management and that type of thing. And you don't want Ryan Dinwiddie overloaded. He's coach, he's offensive coordinator, he's general manager. I'm led to believe that he doesn't have a bigger workload away from his general head coach duties than he did in Toronto. So you don't want to start that now. You don't want to give him more on his plate. You just want him to coach the football team here right now and make sure that they have a decent chance to win week in, week out. So having someone with that experience like Jim Pop, I think is so important that he can deal with the day-to-day stuff that the general public doesn't see, that the general manager has to deal with to make sure that it's still well organized off the field, whether it's travel, whether it's bringing in players and the logistics that come with that, with immigration and everything. So yeah, you don't want Ryan Dinwiddie dealing with any of that type of stuff. You just want him worrying about how he's going to a football game starting Sunday against the BC Lions. So I think that's the biggest thing with Jim Pop. Again, it's they haven't hired their full-time replacement of Sean Burke, and that person's going to be hired after they hire a new president. So we'll see. I mean, the advantage that Jim Pop has with his resume, he shows well. It's a bit of a test drive. I don't know if he wants to be president, if he wants to be in the Sean Burke role, VP of operations. I don't know what suits him more. We haven't spoken to him yet. I think that's probably on the docket tomorrow. But yeah, I think in the end, it's just kind of keep things on the track here and try and ensure that this thing gets better. And I do think he's a guy that he's been noted as someone that knows football players. He knows personnel. He brings in talent. And the fact that he worked 4 years in the UFL/USFL as one of their player personnel guys, I think that's something that's probably going to help, because I'm sure he was taking notes, in terms of, this guy might be a guy that if I ever go back to the CFL, that would be a good fit there, because it's not just about finding the best football players, it's about finding the best fit. With the difference in the American game compared to the Canadian game, there's some tweeners that might be a little bit too small to play linebacker in the NFL, for example, but at 225 or 230 pounds, they can play in this league in that position. So with more covering, that will provide. So yeah, I think a lot on the docket for sure. But in the end, I think a lot of the big heavy lifting is going to happen, with what they do, just with hiring a president and what they do in football operations after that.
Voice of the Red Blacks, Jack Beck joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. So, AJ, you know this team probably better than most here. If you're looking for some reason for optimism going forward, who are some standout players, or players that I think the team organization have high hopes for going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Bryson Barnes at quarterback is someone that looked really good in preseason, athletic, good arm, went to Utah State, and popped in preseason. I think he's going to get, as long as he's healthy, I think he's going to get some looks down the stretch. How many starts is it? I don't know. I mean, I think you don't want to throw him to the wolves, that's for sure. But he's certainly someone that pops, in his limited doings. Beyond that, he never hurts that fantastic season. Like, to me, he's the one guy, like, I was kind of looking at, because when you're 110, you're not going to get many All-Stars, nor should you. But I do think he should be an East All-Star, maybe not a CFL All-Star. Is he a top 5 receiver in the league? No, there's a lot of real good receivers in the league. But I do think he's a top 5 receiver in the East. Below Phil Pot and Speed, and he's in there with some of the other guys after that. Most contested catches in the CFL this year. So that shows that he's good in traffic, and he's been outstanding really as a top 10 receiver in the CFL this year in terms of production. Someone that has really popped as well. So beyond that, on defense, it's been a struggle. The defense hasn't looked very good. I think Marcus Barnes has had some moments on defense and in special teams. But they've been poor at times on defense, and part of the issue is you're throwing a lot of guys to the wolves because you've got so many injuries. You got 17 guys in the 6-game injured list right now, and 14 of them are on defense. Only 2 on offense, and they lost their long snapper, Peter Adji as well. But and those are spread out pretty evenly between defensive linemen, linebackers, and in the secondary as well, which is probably where they're most decimated. So, yeah, opportunity knocks for players on this team and on this practice roster. If you sign with the Red Blacks and you come up and you're on the practice roster, there's a decent chance you're going to get a look between now and the end of the season. And if you look in practice, there's going to be opportunities to play. I would think at least a couple of games. That's one of the. There's not a lot of positives about the endpoint end, Connor. I can tell you that, but that is one of the positives. Is you can plan for next year and give some guys extended looks, so you know a little bit more of what you have, rather than wait until training camp next year. So we'll see how the last 8 games work out. They're done with Edmonton. They're done with Saskatchewan. They're done with Montreal. Unfortunately, BC, you would want to play them when Nathan Rourke's not there and they're 1-5. And now they're starting to roll and looking like one of the better teams in the CFL. And who's in town Sunday? Oh, yeah, to be Lions. So it just feels like, man, you could use Hamilton at this point. And, maybe Calgary's a team you can beat as well. But there's not going to be a ton of opportunities to win a bunch of games between now and the end of the season. 8 left, and we'll see what they can do there.
Yeah. BC coming on, looking like they run the football at will. You mentioned the Edmonton connection. You've seen them twice. So from what you've seen, what stands out about this Elks team this year?
Yeah. I know he's been slowed down a little bit in recent weeks, but, that's, I think, probably because defenses are trying to slow him down, and that's Justin Rankin, to me, one of the most electrifying players in the CFL. So when you've got a player like that, the defenses have to key on, it opens up other opportunities elsewhere. Yeah, it's been good. I think they won some close games like that one against Winnipeg on a weekend where you're not playing well in the first half. But when you win close games like that, it generates a belief inside a locker room when you do that, because so many of the games are close. You need to be able to win some of those close games. It's certainly one of the issues here in Ottawa when they've had some close games, most notable the home game against Winnipeg, where we blow a 26-9 and lead in the fourth quarter and end up losing in overtime. So it just feels like there's a lot of belief there. Talking to Rick Campbell, right from the start, right from week 1 when they're in town, he was just raving about the attitude that they had there. So that's what impresses me. Are they a Grey Cup champion this year? I feel like Montreal is my odds-on favorite, but the beauty of the Canadian Football League is you just got to get hot at the right time. We've seen that. The teams that kind of get hot after Labor Day, a lot of those teams find a way. So if Edmonton can find a way to play some really good football down the stretch here, they've got themselves a pretty good start, then, hey, they'll be in the mix just like Saskatchewan and BC and Montreal and some other teams. So yeah, it's great to see, and hopefully they can do some damage.
Yeah, long schedule in between buys, so I know they're enjoying the time off before the Labor Day Classic. AJ, thanks a lot for doing this today. Really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again.
Anytime. Robert, take care.
You as well. There you go. AJ Jackie, back the voice of the Ottawa Red Blacks. Catch on TSN 1200 out in Ottawa. Formerly of Edmonton. One time was the voice of the Edmonton Oilers. How about that? Going way back, way back. We'll take a break here when we come back. Some more text for you. 1-833-441-1440. I'll get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. Today's edition here on the Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job, from home to auto and 10 Glass, or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Peanut Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle and operates a Morinville area. Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in this features 2 sheets of ice, 1,500 feet arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
For all your welding supplies, think AWS Welding. Located in Nisku, their rarely stocked storefront a wide variety of buildings. Same-day delivery is always available. And if they don't have it, AWS Welding will find it for you fast. Visit their online store today at awswelding.ca or give them a call or text at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. They make it happen.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
The Chicken Parmy Burger. McExtreme pulled pork, garlic and black pepper chicken McNuggets, cheesy bacon McFlavor fries, and the Stroop Waffle McFlurry. You've scrolled them. You've screenshotted them. You've never been able to order them until now. This is the McDonald's World Menu Heist. The most wanted menu items taken from around the world, now in Canada. Get them while you can. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable, call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I missed one payment, then another. Now I feel behind on everything. I can't keep up.
Falling behind happens to more people than you think. But there is a solution. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. Together, we can create a plan that fits your situation and helps you get caught up and back in control. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to book your free consultation and discover your debt-free future.
Barbecue season, nothing like a great steak. Which reminds me, Nettle Supermarkets has even created custom grill tops for Rusted Old Barbecues. That's one of the many special requests they've received over the years. You'll be amazed what their skilled crew can do. Barbecue grills to grills for classic cars. Sky's the limit. Speaking of sky, that's a lot of smoke up there. Uh-oh, fire in the hole. Price steak. So long, sirloin. Nettle Supermarkets, the local convenience stores for Southside, West End, and NettelSupermarkets.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass. Your clear choice residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley. This is Sports 1440.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Canada just picking up the big win over Korea. Yeah, the Little League World Series. Facing a jam. Had runners on second and third with one out. Canada gets out of it. Shut up, boys. Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Of course. Tonight, the Lotto Mac 10 mil. Tomorrow's Lotto 649 ball jackpot 18 million. Thursday, got the grand day. And of course, always the Jason Gregor Show specials with boosted odds. Go check it out. PlayAlberta.ca. Remember to make sure you use your game sense. Apologies for those of you who've been trying to tune in online. A little technical difficulties. We're going to get that corrected, though. We'll have that ready for tomorrow. Some new technology hopefully getting this going here, but make sure you just tune in. iHeart, tune in, Radio Player Canada, our website, or the good old A&I dial up next. We got Blue Jays Baseball. AMP only as they take on the Kansas City Royals from Toronto. Right now, though, we're going to get to CanTorque's 2-minute warning. Today edition brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Never change, no OD charges, furniture repair and maintenance. Do it now with LegacyHeating.ca. Here is CanTorque's 2-minute warning.
Winning is easy to write about. It sparkles. It pops the champagne and prints the championship t-shirts. Losing, though, a real
stubborn, suffocating losing streak? That's where you find the soul of sports. Because losing tests something much deeper. Faith. Take long cup holders and Wi-Fi. The Ottawa Senators of the late 1920s lost 25 consecutive games, 4 straight winless years. A whole generation of kids went to the park just to learn what heartbreak tasted like. In the modern CFL era, the Ottawa Redblacks are on a 16-gamer. 16 games without a win. South of the border, they know the feeling too. The NFL record still belongs to the Chicago Cardinals from World War II. 29 straight games. In modern times, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost 26 in a row back when their uniforms were the color of a creamsicle and their offense wasn't much tougher. The NBA has seen the 76ers and Pistons lose 28. When it settles in, a losing streak isn't just bad luck. It feels like bad weather you can't outrun. Which brings us home to Commonwealth Stadium. Between October of 2019 and August of 2023, the Edmonton Elks lost 22 straight home games. 1,415 days. Think about that. You could have entered high school, graduated, and never once seen the home team sing the fight song in the locker room. It became the longest home losing streak in North American major professional sports history. Yet every single Elks home game, people still showed up. They bought the green and gold caps, bundled up against the wind, and believed. And when Trey Ford finally broke the curse on a warm August 27th to end the draft. You will not believe who the Elks beat. Give yourself a converted touchdown if you said the Ottawa Redblacks. The 2-minute warning. As the Jason Gregor Show with guest host Connor Halley continues on. Sports. 1440.
Those were bleak times here in Edmonton with the Elks not finding their way. But you got through it. And I mean, it's just like the same old regurgitated thing in sports. It starts at the top, and there's no better proof when you look at Edmonton. New owners come in, start hiring people that are good at their jobs. Chris Morris, good at his job. Ed Hervey, good at his job. Mark Gillum, good at his job. Go down to the position groups, good at their job. Bringing in players who want to be here, who want to stick around. And it fixes it. But it takes patience. And in a pro organization, that's not always there. But that was something, and it always sticks to me when Chris Morris said that. We want guys who want to be here. We're going to be patient with them. We don't want turnover. We want to grow. And it has done it 100%. Hacksaw says, man, I know what's wrong with the Ottawa Redblacks. The Donkeys have Sean Burke as VP. Dude's a goalie. What does he know about foosball? Good goalie. Got to make a bit of a change. Guys, has 4 teams in the same division ever made the playoffs in the same season? I don't know. I guess I could look into it. It's looking like it's a possibility with the Jays. Obviously, the Rays holding the top spot. Yankees, Red Sox right there. My Google research tells me that it's possible, but it also is like maybe it hasn't happened. The NL West trying to do it as well. In the NFL, we see it with 3 teams occasionally, and now with extra wild card, it could be 4. It'd be very tough, though. The divisional games kind of get in the way of that one, but no, I don't think so. If anyone has any examples of it, they can let us know. 1-833-401-1440, but I don't think so, but the AL East will try to make it happen. Jays in action, as we mentioned earlier, Shane Bieber on the 15-day IL. Dallas recalled. Bieber, that's retroactive to the 1st, so he'll be out for 10 more days here. Jays right now in action, tied with the Royals. 1 apiece in the top of the 3rd. Max Scherzer on the bump. 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. Curious how long he'll be out there. If they can get him into the 5th, I think that's probably a W. Hopefully not giving up too many runs. As mentioned, we will join that one in progress following the Jason Gregor Show at 6 o'clock. That'll be on the AM feed. If you're listening on the stream, of course, you got Fox Sports Radio. all night long. Tomorrow morning, we're back live at 7 a.m. with Tom Gazzola and company, followed by the Frenzy Low Tide that will be back for the Jason Gregor show tomorrow on the show. Wednesday, who do we got on Wednesdays? Oh, yeah, former NHLer Jason Strudwick, Tyler Yaremchuk as well. We'll continue our look around the NFL. We'll see where Slater wants to go with that one. So there'll be lots to get to. Maybe talk some Blue Jays as well if we can get a guest for earlier on in the program. In case you missed it today, really fun show. Check it out, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. Joel DeBlanco was outstanding. Edmonton Elks linebacker, really cool chat talking about his career, journey to the CFL, and then success that the team has had. We had 2 editions of Campaigns 2-Minute Warning. Terry Ryan, Dave McCarthy, Buck Lanford from Fox 5 Atlanta joined us. Says there's some murmuring going on, potentially about an NHL franchise. Teams looking to build rinks. Spec, AJ Jackiebeck. If you missed it, go to jasongregor.com or Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. For Declan and Mackenzie, I'm Connor Halley. Appreciate you guys joining us on this show. Fox Sports up next on the stream. Blue Jays baseball if you're listening on the AM dial. But first, one more 1440 update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Toronto Blue Jays currently tied 1-1 in the middle of the third against the Kansas City Royals. Elsewhere around the majors, 3 games currently with a 1-0 scoreline. Astros leading the Yankees, Rays leading the Tigers, and Red Sox leading the Marlins. Rockies lead the Nats 2-1 in the bottom of the fourth. Brewers and Mets tied 0-0, as are the Rangers and White Sox and Orioles and Cards. Only other game going on right now sees the Braves leading the Dodgers 3-2 in the bottom of the second. Late game tonight in the MLB will feature the Reds and the Giants. Little League World Series, it was Canada over Korea 5-1 today. Tokyo, Japan over Mexico 3-1, and Alabama over Washington 4-2. Right now, Ohio and New Jersey tied 0-0 in the top of the third. Halftime between the Chicago Sky and Connecticut Sun. The Sun leading that one 44-29 at home. Fire and Wings up in about 5 minutes, and the Mystics and Mercury at 8 o'clock. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Yes, it's Sports 1440.
A Stingray